Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast where everyone remembered the WWE brand split announcement, except for the WWE. It's Lost in the Midcard. Episode 76. We have got a lot to do here tonight. We are going to do our first of a few segments of the drafting of the brand split, the draft. Matt and I, as we drew or flipped a coin live on the show last week. Matt got Smackdown, I got Raw, and then Matt got the first pick. So we went 15 rounds, and so we'll cover that. We're going to cover one of the greatest matches of the year between Ricochet and Will Ospreay, and a little bit of controversy, comments and such that follow that. We will talk what happened in the WWE. We got a lot of headlines for you. And we also are previewing NXT Takeover because NXT Takeover The End is here next week. And so we will start recording right after that show goes off of the air. I'd like to thank SpiderDuck.net for being our host and enabling us to be on iTunes and any of your favorite podcasting apps. Make sure you find us and subscribe to us. Just type in Lost in the Midcard and you will find us very easily. And we are also subscribable on YouTube. The links to both of those are on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Lost in the Midcard. Just go to the notes section. The links are there. You can also get to our links on our Twitter page at LITMC Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Bennett. I'm on the Twitter at JBHuskers. And as always, my co-host, he is on the Twitter at RawFShowtime. It is Mr. Matt Black. Matt, how are we doing this evening?
We're 1 week away from NXT Takeover, probably the biggest pay-per-view of the summer until NXT Takeover Brooklyn. So, not bad. Not bad.
Yeah. We will get a debut, but it may not be the debut we want. But there may be two debuts. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. Also joining us, he is the commissioner of Black Diamond Wrestling. Go to blackdiamondwrestling.com for all of the happenings that are going on. There's going to be a big rematch for their title coming up soon as well. He is on the Twitter at Trevor Osz. That's Trevor O-S-Z. Trevor Osz, welcome back to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and actually, for Black Diamond Wrestling, I would suggest more so go to our Facebook page. We throw all our matches and stuff and content up there.
Is it just facebook.com/Black Diamond Wrestling?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Excellent.
Go check that out. Check out our YouTube, which can be linked through there, and all that good stuff.
Get yourself ready for the title rematch, and that's coming up soon, isn't it, Trevor?
Yeah, this Sunday. If you're anywhere near Wheeling, West Virginia, it's in Benwood, which is just a couple minutes outside of Wheeling. Come check it out. It's at the Fireman's Club in Benwood. So yeah, come join us if you're anywhere near.
You can go to the YouTube page to check out the title match and the lead up to it and the main event. First time ever in a steel cage for Black Diamond Wrestling, right, Trevor?
It's not a steel cage. It is a cage.
It's not steel. It's not steel. That's okay, brother. But it looks pretty snazzy. I saw some pictures of it there.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun.
We are going to jump right into the draft here. Like I said, Matt was the GM of Smackdown. I am the GM of Raw. We were tasked to go through 15 rounds of the draft, and Trevor will officiate for us. And Trevor also will. Trevor and Charles down the road, we will get them on and have them do a draft as well. And then we got a couple other little drafty ideas that we're gonna give you here on Lost in the Midcard as we roll slowly. Trust me, after this Raw.
I hope those ideas aren't too drafty because it could get a little cold in here.
Oh, boom! Try the veal. Tip your bar and wait staff. Thank you. Come again. All right, Matt. Before we start the draft, was there any kind of strategy that you had going into it? Anything?
No, because you didn't let me prepare, motherfucker.
Hey, you did research.
Freaking JB comes to me in the middle of the afternoon. He's like, I want to do the draft right now. And I'm like, dude, I want to freaking prepare. I want to do some homework. I want to plan my picks to put together the best draft possible. JB's like, no, I want to do it now. And I'm like, fine, we'll do it now. Just chill your ass. So we did it. I would say the
But
you were whining about doing it later. You had the boo boo phase. I thought you were gonna quit and go film Guardians of the Galaxy. So
I didn't have the boo boo face. I was making fun of you because you needed to prepare.
I wanted to prepare, dude. As long as it took you in between picks, you weren't always prepared.
Because I was working.
Well, excuses. One thing I would let everybody know ahead of time is that the women's division, we did not make any picks out of the women's division. Nope. Just because we don't really know what the heck WWE is doing with that. And we also did not take any picks from the current roster of NXT. So
with some of our future draft specials that are coming up here, on our way to the split here in the middle of July, I think Matt and I will collaborate on a draft and include some surprises. Hopefully that the WWE listens to what we would think make a great additions, not just NXT surprises, but maybe brand new surprises. Some guys we haven't even seen yet. So that'll be one of the things that we do leading up here. So let's kick it off. Matt, you have the number one pick.
Yeah.
And you want me? I didn't know if you had it.
I don't have it on me.
Okay.
You motherfucker.
The show is super organized, guys.
So testy.
Well, he didn't tell me to have the list. You did the whole thing, so I figured you were just going to read it off.
Oh, so testy. Matt, you took AJ Styles as your number one draft pick. Why did you do so?
Because if I had my way, I'd revolve the entire blue brand around AJ Styles. I will also like to keep in mind we did this draft prior to the AJ Styles heel turn on Monday.
Which was glorious.
No one's complaining about it. And if you are, you're a jobber.
The true American hero is AJ Styles for beating up John Cena on Memorial Day.
Can't hate.
Number two, my first pick as my cornerstone. I'm going to take the man that has it all, Kevin Owens. This guy is the future of the WWE. He can do it all on the mic, on the commentary booth, in the ring, out of the ring. KO is my guy.
Trevor, if you can, I want you to write these down so you can compare our two rosters when this is over, so you can determine what show you'd rather watch on a weekly basis if you could only watch one.
Hey, you guys are making me do work now? Jesus.
Oh my God. I gotta do work. Number three.
What? Number three? What?
Yes.
We haven't even...
Number three in the draft. You're number one. I'm number two. So that means you're number three.
Whatever.
Number three.
Jobber.
The first pick of the second round, Matt takes Seth Rollins. Rebuild, redesign, reclaim. With the second pick of the second round, I take the lunatic fringe, Dean Ambrose. Now, I will concede, Trevor could, if you want to go ahead and talk about the first two rounds, I will concede the top part of the draft. I think AJ Styles and Seth Rollins is stronger than Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose. But I think as a whole, I like Raw a lot better than SmackDown. But Trevor, what do you see with those first four picks there?
It could honestly go either way, to be completely honest. I mean, Seth Rollins and AJ Styles are both great picks. But, I mean, Kevin Owens is very much a guy that could be on top and could go all the way and go however he wants, really.
Owens would have been my second pick had he picked anybody else.
Yeah, and then
honestly, I would have taken Owens at number 2 behind AJ had he not taken Owens at number 1. So it was a smart, quick pick on your part to take Owens off my show.
Yeah, it was between Owens and Rollins, and you were going to take the one that I didn't take there, and so that 2 and 3 were pretty much those two guys guaranteed. First pick of the third round, Matt at Smackdown takes the New Day. So our first tag team is off of the board, and of course, not just a tag team. You can something we've been begging for a while on the show is to give Big E or Kofi or Xavier even a singles push in some sort of direction. With my pick in the third round, I take the guy, Roman Reigns. It's just like John Cena. He's polarizing. He gets a big response wherever he goes. That is not a bad thing. If it was crickets when Roman Reigns came out to the ring, it would be a whole different story.
Well, fans are smart, it would be.
With the first pick in round 4, Matt on SmackDown takes the Viper, Randy Orton, who is very close to returning, hopefully in a couple weeks, or I don't know. They say middle of June, but I don't know. I'm probably going to guess the Raw after Money in the Bank is probably a good bet for him to come back.
That would make sense.
Unless he's the surprise guy for Money in the Bank, if they're still going 7. We'll talk about that interesting little change in a minute. With my pick in the 4th round, I take the Swiss Superman, Cesaro. So it looks like AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, New Day, and Randy Orton for Matt in the first 4 rounds. For me, Kevin Owens, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Cesaro. Trevor, what do you see here after the first 4 rounds?
So did you guys agree the tag teams are going together?
That was we decided that we were taking tag teams together because I hate the idea of splitting tag teams up in the draft, and I really hope they don't do it because the tag team division right now is so strong. I don't think they should be doing it.
I was gonna say, I think it's all right if it makes sense. Like if they broke up like the Lucha Dragons, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, honestly, we actually did break up the Lucha Dragons in this draft later on.
All right.
Well, one of them just doesn't get drafted.
Yeah, one of them just doesn't get drafted. It's spoiler.
Take a guess who. All right. Kicking off the 5th round. This guy isn't around all the time, but when he's around at his box office, Matt takes Brock Lesnar.
Damn right I do. If I'm running the show, the motherfucker's around all the time. I just want to point that out. You know, I'm pulling off the
up, boy.
I would phone it. Brock would be on TV every week. He'd be at every SmackDown and every pay-per-view if I was running SmackDown.
But don't you think that makes him less special?
No. It all depends on how you use him.
It's his 5th round pick, so it's not like he took him right away and is doing it. With my pick in the 5th round, I take Sami Zayn because this generation's best feud is going to be Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and I'm going to keep that going until the end of time, trust me. In the first pick of the 6th round, Matt takes Bray Wyatt, who has been rumored to have returned to television tapings and live shows this week. So after a little minor injury, Bray Wyatt has returned, and maybe he will be the mystery Money in the Bank guy.
Who was your last pick, JB?
My last one for the 5th round was Sami Zayn. Okay. And my pick for the 6th round, print money because it's John Cena. Amazingly, he goes in the 6th round. This guy still has a good 5 years left in him. This guy sells merch. This guy sort of brings the ratings, but not on Memorial Day.
It's Memorial Day. You can't really expect the ratings to go up on Memorial Day. You had a lot of competition from the sports stuff happening that day, but B, it's also Memorial Day. A lot of people were out there, having burgers and hot dogs and getting drunk and all that good stuff.
A lot of people already passed out by the time Raw comes on.
Exactly.
With the first pick of the 7th round, Matt on SmackDown takes Enzo and Cass, the hottest tag team in the division right now. And my second pick, with my pick in the 7th round, I take not only Rusev, but I got the ravishing Russian Lana alongside him. Matt continues to go with the tag teams on SmackDown. In round 8, he takes Anderson and Gallows.
I'm really happy with that pick now that the club's back together.
Now that the club's back together. That gelled for you perfectly.
Yep.
My pick in the 8th round, I'm going with a guy that needs to be treated a lot better, and so we're going to push him. Dolph Ziggler. All right, we're about halfway through the draft here, Trevor. What do you like? What do you see? What surprises you here?
So what was the round 7 picks again?
Round 7 was Enzo and Cass for Matt.
Okay.
And Rusev for me.
I think Matt has you beat on tag team division here.
Because he has 3 tag teams to my 0.
Yeah.
I pretty much gave him the tag teams after...
He's just going to put Roman Reigns and John Cena together and form the new 2-man power trio.
Yeah.
So apparently the tag team division's going to SmackDown.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you take a tag team late.
I do, but for a different... Not to tag, so
okay.
we'll get in. And it is late. Yeah, it is late, so stay tuned, kids. All right. In the 9th round... SmackDown for Matt. He takes Neville, who I don't know. He'll return from injury here pretty soon. I don't know how soon, but definitely missing Neville here on the old television. I think Neville's a good fit for SmackDown. I continue with experience, which is probably how WWE is going to do it too, and I go with The Miz in the 9th round. Matt is finally... In the 10th round, Matt is finally going to make this guy a world champion. His pick in the 10th round is Zack Ryder. You're going to make him world champion, right?
He's at least holding the mid-card title for a while, for longer than 24 hours, I'll tell you that.
Before
make him a world.
Yeah. Poor Zack.
Make him a world champ for crying out loud.
I can't guarantee world champion status.
Okay. My pick in the 10th round, he's a blue chipper. He's got all the talent and charisma in the world, and he smiles a lot. It's Apollo Crews. Speaking of breaking up tag teams, we didn't draft the other guy, but Matt in the 11th round takes Kalisto.
Sin Cara.
And round 11 is the Mexican part of the draft, apparently, because I take Alberto Del Rio. In the 12th round, Matt continues the tag team run. He takes Harper and Rowan, so he also not only has the club, he has the Wyatt family.
The club versus the Wyatt family feud of the summer, baby.
You just said family feud. Survey says
that'll be amazing. The club versus the Wyatt family, like the club is the heels, and if the Wyatts were faces when Bray got hurt. So you have a face Wyatt family against the heel club. I'm digging that. I think that would be awesome.
Anytime in the 12th round you can get a future WWE Hall of Famer, it is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. I take Chris Jericho. Drink it in. As we have 3 rounds left, Trevor, what do you see? What do you like? What do you dislike?
I would say at the top of the card it's pretty even, the top and maybe mid-card title, but I don't know. I'm kind of leaning more towards Matt on this one.
The 13th round, Matt takes Sheamus or Rocksteady. I take Tyler Breeze. in the 13th round. In the 14th round, Matt takes Baron Corbin. Well, I take my first tag team, but I'm not going to use them as a tag team. I'm drafting the Dudleys to push Bubba Ray as a singles wrestler like he was in TNA. And in the final and 15th round of the draft, Matt selects, continuing the tag team division, he selects the Golden Truth because everybody needs a jobber.
I figured they would work great as enhancement talent for not only the tag team division, but singles action as well. I just thought they were a no-brainer to grab at the end of the draft.
And my pick, the final pick at number 30 in the 15th round, I take Bo Dallas. This guy's young, a lot of years left in him. Dude was an NXT champion for a long time, but has been a joke on the main roster so far. So that is something I would definitely change, is to make Bo Dallas no longer a joke any longer. So there you go. There's our first draft of a few that we'll have here coming up as we lumber our way to July 19th, I believe, is the date that Smackdown goes live. And the draft, who knows, maybe the 11th, as what Matt thought maybe last week. So there you have it. Trevor, where are you tuning into? Are you tuning into Raw or are you tuning into SmackDown?
I think I'm tuning into SmackDown.
Yeah!
I'll be honest.
Matt paid you off, huh?
He's got a great tag team division. He's got a lot of good guys on top. I'd probably, I think I would go more towards that. But I think the top of the card on Raw would be really good. The top to like the Intercontinental or U.S. title picture, depending on which title was on there.
Yeah, I kind of just could see it once. I think probably when he drafted Enzo and Cass, and then right away Anderson Gallows. I said I'll concede the tag teams. Splitting them up, it doesn't do any favors. You're gonna have what we had before. 4 or 5 teams ever in it, and it gets stale. So I kind of just conceded the tag teams instead of trying to break them up. All right. And maybe next week...
SmackDown's reigning supreme!
Yeah, not really, but it's still the B show.
You're just pissy because now you're going to have to feed the egos of both Roman Reigns and John Cena. Have fun with that on Monday nights.
They're feeding my pockets, so that's all right. Maybe next week we'll see here how the schedules work out. Maybe we'll get Trevor and Charles to do a draft themselves, and we'll go from there. And I think we'll maybe do some drafting with the women and some NXT guys, and we'll do a few things here, like we said, leading up to it. All right, the match, one of the matches that is being talked about all over the world, happened just a few days ago in the Super Juniors tournament for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Will Ospreay and Ricochet took to the ring, and boy, all three of us have seen the match in its entirety, and I believe we have posted the link on our Facebook page and Twitter pages to get to that, because thanks to New Japan Pro Wrestling for giving that to us for free, because it was talked about so much. Trevor, what did you think about that match, man?
It was an amazing match. Honestly, full disclosure here, I didn't watch it the day of. Well, I did watch it the day of, but I waited till later. After me and my buddy Ian recorded our podcast on the Spider Duck Network, the Trevor and Ian Talk Show, for the first time in a year, I actually sat down with him and made him watch it. Because he likes wrestling. He's more of like a lapsed wrestling fan. Like, he liked it when he was in high school and stuff. And kind of like, he watches here and there, but kind of falls out of it. But yeah, I mean, like, we both just sat there and just watched it, and it was amazing to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot of fun. I mean, it was a great, fun, athletic contest, and that's what New Japan strives on, especially in their juniors division.
Yeah, and we'll get into some of the criticism here after we cover the match. But Matt, you had a good point of why people criticized. They probably didn't see the whole match, right?
No, I really think a lot of people saw the main GIF image going around online with about the first I'd say
like 4 or
like
5.
the first 90 seconds of the match. And I think that's what, Vader and everybody else was basing it off of. I don't truly believe Vader actually sat there and watched the entire 20-minute match. I don't think he did.
Guess what? Vader deleted that tweet.
Did he?
The original tweet.
I bet he got too much heat.
It had been up for days because I had to dig through. I dug through it and then I wanted to link to it just to see what he said. It does not exist anymore. So I'm like, oh, that's cute.
Interesting.
So Ospreay comes out, and you can tell that the Japanese crowd has already taken a liking to him. Great ovation for him. The women are loving him too, man. He kisses one of them on the hand, and she's all melted, like, ee. Ricochet comes out to a nice ovation as well. A very vocal crowd for Japanese, as there are dueling chants of Ricochet and Ospreay heard as they start the match. Now, Trevor, is this something kind of changing in the culture of Japanese fans, or is it kind of does it depend on what type of event they've got going on?
I think it depends on the event and the day, and the matchup that they're being presented. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it really just depends on the crowd and more or less who's working. I mean, you can kind of see, like, when you have some of the older guys in there, that they show a bit more respect in there, just because that's kind of the generation that those guys are part of, so they know when to show respect. But they'll also bring themselves up. They do less chanting. Chanting's not normal per se.
Yeah, I was surprised at the amount of chants that I heard during this match. I thought it was one of the most lively Japanese crowds I've ever actually witnessed watching just a single match.
I never thought I would hear a holy shit chant from a Japanese crowd.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it just stems from the Bullet Club, really, that kind of almost partially Americanized the Japanese crowd a little bit, and at least made it more popular to do that, more popular to go against the norms of Japanese wrestling. And I think we're seeing that effect now on the crowd.
Do you think that's why? NATO's so popular right now?
I could definitely see that, dude.
Do you think before the Bullet Club, do you think that gimmick would have gotten over in Japan like it's getting over right now?
No, I don't think so. Because I think what they were really trying to do with Naito is make him more like Tanahashi. Basically kind of be like almost the successor to Tanahashi in that respect. And he just didn't get... He was over, but he wasn't like over like he is now. People thought he was good, but like I don't think people connected with him on that level. And once Naito just like basically just didn't give a shit, and started the gimmick where it looks like he's dehydrated all the time. Like, we just need to get Naito some water. Just fucking give him some water, guys. But no, yeah. Once he started that gimmick, it just, I think he made that connection that everybody was missing with him, and I think it's worked out extremely well. Like he's super fun to watch, and just like his mannerisms and the way he does stuff and tries to purposely like make the match boring and just not care is just great. And everybody in Gobernales does that. They all do that stuff, and it works so well.
And it's so interesting because I can't ever think of a time ever in history, at least with American wrestling, I can't ever think of a time where someone treats the belt like that even. Naito comes out and he just throws the belt on the stage, fuck this.
Honestly, the closest you could compare that to would probably be Stone Cold.
Yeah,
because Stone Cold would drag the title down the ramp and he'd toss it in the rain and stuff like that. It's the closest. I mean, I think Naito takes it to another level.
Yeah.
But
Naito is purposely hating on the title. Austin, that's just part of his BMF walk, Right. So I thought, and that's just something that's completely new and interesting.
It's kind of interesting to see where New Japan's at, because it's in this like this microcosm of where they have like these characters now Where before, like if you went back 10 years, you didn't really see as much characters and stuff. And it was more just about strong style and more about the competition. But now you're getting both.
Yeah.
I mean, just watching one of the early days of the Super Juniors when it was Kenny Omega and the Bullet Club in like an 8-man tag, and Kenny Omega just comes out with his broom, and like there's this woman sitting in the front row, and she's holding like a Tanahashi bear, like one of the stuffed bears, and he just like sweeps the bear off her lap and onto the floor, and she keeps picking up, and he keeps doing it, and it's hilarious.
Is that on YouTube anywhere, man? I'm
not sure if it's on YouTube, but when I saw that, I was like, that's fantastic, and I mean it's fun to watch because you just have rich characters, but then you also have awesome wrestling, which you can kind of almost see that in a way starting to bleed over to Ring of Honor when you have guys like Dalton Castle, even Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal's more of a character than they had in the past, because you look at guys like Daniel Bryan and Nigel McGuinness, fantastic wrestlers, but in their heydays in Ring of Honor, they weren't really characters.
They were just white meat baby faces, basically. Right?
Yeah, but they had like these such great matches that you didn't care. But now Ring of Honor is starting to become something different, and I think something better. And I think part of that is just the way the business is changing, and part of that is also its partnership with New Japan and the way that New Japan's changing. Was
Tyler Black the same way too in Ring of Honor?
Yeah, he was. He was. I mean, he had a few gimmicks and stuff, but he wasn't the talker he is now. That's definitely something that he had to work on when he came to WWE, and now, I mean, it's Seth Rollins. He's fantastic.
He's so good.
Yeah,
so good. So on the match, as we said, dueling chants to start off the match, some great chain wrestling to start off the match that ends in a draw, and Ricochet flexes his pecs, and Ospreay says, forget that, I can't do that with my pecs. I thought that was pretty funny. That's kind of some of the showmanship, kind of like what you will see like with a Nakamura and AJ Styles when they fought at Wrestle Kingdom. I thought that's kind of the showmanship you see in New Japan, which I thought was kind of funny. What followed then was one of those gifts that you saw, just insane. Both men going off the ropes, doing moves on each other. But the moves they were doing, the other person would land on their feet. They would never take the bump, which was insane. And then it led into a double handspring where they made a pose in the middle of the ring and the crowd goes nuts. And I think that was what probably Vader's talking about right there, don't you think, Trevor?
In a sense. Like, I understand Vader's point of view. Like, I get it. But at the same time, like, honestly, I think William Regal had the best response, where really it's just...
Yeah, we'll go over that.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. But yeah,
Ricochet with a great response too on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean the business evolves, and everybody in the crowd pretty much knows it's a show, it's entertainment, and as long as the crowd gets into it, I think that's the main thing.
Exactly. Ricochet with some knife edge chops, which Ospreay starts saying, "Oh, you bastard!" Kind of funny, just the way he would sell those chops. In another what the fuck moment, Ospreay charges Ricochet into the corner. Ricochet dodges, sending Ospreay face first. Jesus tits, face first into the turnbuckle, and then Ricochet, just quick as lightning, does a 619, and it goes to the top rope. But then Ospreay recovers and hits a drop kick in midair. I think that was another one of those gifts that they saw. That part was pretty damn sweet. Ospreay put a sweet submission, kind of similar to AJ Lee's Black Widow on Ricochet, but Ricochet was able to make it to the ropes. Ricochet hits a sick DDT off the turnbuckle that knocks Ospreay out of the ring, and then Ricochet does this ACH-like dive, throws in a corkscrew, and about takes out one of the young lions that's at ringside as well, and that started off a huge Ricochet chant. And a stiff kick by Ricochet to Ospreay, and they mic'd the ring really well because Ospreay, you could clearly hear him say, "Oh, you motherfucker," when he ate one of them stiff kicks. What is that typical, Trevor, for New Japan to have the mics so loud in the ring?
No, but you could tell. Like usually, it depends on the show, but usually this. if you look at the production, like it was kind of almost like their mid-tier show, because you have like the shows that they have on there, which are basically like the one camera angle that zooms in, no commentary, no pomp and circumstance, really. Those are more almost like the house show. And then you have these shows where it has the different angles, but there's no commentary behind it. So I think if there were commentary behind it, then the in-ring noise would have been muted a little bit more. So I don't think you would have been able to tell as much.
Ospreay's got a potty mouth on him, though, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He is British, so I mean that kind of comes with the territory.
That is true. Ricochet puts Ospreay into some very unique submission holds himself. After a little brawling, yes, there was brawling in here. It just wasn't flips and gymnastics. Ospreay does a handspring off the ropes into a killer spinning sidekick. He delivers a flying forearm while saying, "Cheerio, motherfucker!" I thought that was even more hilarious than him calling him a motherfucker. He does his own killer dive to the outside of the ring and kisses the camera, so the cameraman has to clean that off, I bet. Sweet destroyer spot by Ospreay into a near fall as they got back into the ring. After several moves and counter moves in the corner, they nail each other with kicks to the head at the same time. That prompts a "This is awesome" chant from the Japanese crowd. They battle on the apron, trading blows when Ricochet delivers a sick driver right on the apron. And Ricochet attempts to throw Ospreay back into the ring, but he swings off the ropes into a reverse Rana. That started the "holy shit" chant from the Japanese. Both men are being counted out as they lay to the outside. They have to get back in the ring by 20. They both simultaneously got in the ring at like 19 and a half. That was pretty damn close. Because Trevor, there are draws in the Super Juniors, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. They can do draws. Yeah.
So the double count out, and then they have a time limit too.
I'm not 100% sure on the time limit, to be honest. I'm sure they do.
Matt, do you know if they have a time limit?
I haven't heard of any time limit draws in this tournament so far, unless I missed today. So
I don't think there have been any, but I mean, I'm sure they technically do, but.
So the only thing they do for probably a draw is the double count out, then?
Probably, yeah.
Or a double knockout.
Yeah.
Both men finally get up. Ospreay goes for the strike, but Ricochet spits on him. That pisses off the Brit as he delivers a vicious forearm. That was a great pop to that one. Both men then proceed to trade blows, and then they crack heads. I don't know if that was on purpose or not.
I think it was.
Ospreay does the Okada pose and teases the Rainmaker. That popped the crowd a little bit, but he couldn't get the move off. He then eats a boot, and Ricochet goes off the ropes, but Ospreay hits a backflip slam. That was pretty damn sweet right there, and that led to a near fall. Knee strike by Ricochet into a suplex, where he didn't release and goes into another suplex, followed by a standing moonsault. That was a great sequence by Ricochet. Ricochet then goes for his 630 finisher, but misses, and Ospreay does some sort of inverted DDT into a cradle pin. I thought that was a pretty sweet move to go into the pin there. Yet another near fall. Ospreay goes for another handspring, but Ricochet catches him. He goes for a move, but is blocked, and then Ospreay does this amazing spinning kick, landing on a downed Ricochet, bouncing Ricochet's head off the mat, followed by a killer cutter, and that was enough for Ospreay to get the win in this amazing match over Ricochet. After the match, Ospreay reaches his hand out to Ricochet. Ricochet goes back into the ring, pushes Ospreay, and then Ospreay pushes him back. The crowd starts to chant one more match. Ricochet says he wants one more match, and then they shake hands. So, just an amazing moment. Again, we've got this, the link to New Japan on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Lost in the Midcard. Matt, what was your favorite moment of the match? I'll tell you mine. Mine was the driver on that apron, because that's the hard part of the ring. And
honestly, I was probably going to say the same thing.
And then the reverse Rana swing off the ropes. I'm like, holy shit, that is just insane. I also love the cutter too, but I think that the moment on the apron was my favorite.
I think the entire sequence that started on the apron, the back and forth to the driver to the reverse Rana, was probably my favorite sequence in the match. And the only thing that kept it away from being perfect was during the reverse Rana, it almost looked like Ricochet, like half of his body got caught up on the top of the apron when he was coming down, and that could have been one hell of a nasty injury, and luckily that didn't happen. But I mean, that was the only slight thing out of that kept that sequence from being perfect. But still, I mean, I know a lot of people would say the beginning of the match, which was really cool, but I would have to agree with you. I think that the apron spot to the backwards Rana was probably my favorite sequence of the match.
Trevor, what was your favorite spot in that match?
First of all, I just want to call a hack alert right now.
Oh, who are you throwing the flag on?
On the cutter on Will Ospreay here for Edric Everhart, Black Diamond Wrestling Heavyweight Champ, has been doing that for a while now.
Can Jay Lethal call a hack alert on him?
Well, man, but Jay Lethal does it in the center of the ring, like off the ropes, not off the middle
turnbuckle.
Fair enough.
So
yeah, he does the hand. Lethal does the handspring.
The handspring, yeah.
And
Randy Orton calls a hack alert on all of it, everybody.
Diamond Dallas Page calls a hack alert on everybody.
Sure enough.
And then it ends and God calls the hack alert on everybody and says, "Shut up, people, move along." Trevor,
brother.
Trevor, what was your favorite moment?
I think you nailed it with the pile driver.
Yeah. Man, that gotta hurt like a bitch. So Vader did take the Twitter. I for one, I am not gonna trash Vader. I respect his opinion. He has spent a lot of time in Japan.
My only question is, and honestly, the question I truly want to know. I want to know if Vader just saw the gifts, which is what if you had a gun to my head and I had to be right. I'm gonna say that's all he saw.
Yeah.
Because I would be really curious if he really felt the same way after seeing the full match.
Now he deleted the tweet, so now you got to wonder.
Who knows?
It's also very.
Maybe he saw the full match and then deleted the tweet.
Yeah. What were you saying, Trevor?
He's also from a very different time. When he was in Japan, I mean, it was all about having like the huge evil gaijin that came in and just bowled over people like he did, like Stan Hansen did, like Bruiser Brody did. And I mean, it's definitely a different time. The great thing about like New Japan though is they have matches that cater to a lot of different people. They have like the Super Junior stuff, but if you go back even just a couple years to like Tomohiro Ishii and the Makabe match from Wrestle Kingdom like 2 years ago, I think it was Wrestle Kingdom 9, where those guys just like beat the shit out of each other. Completely different match, but it was still just as enjoyable. So, I mean, it really just depends what you're looking for. I mean, I think that would be more of a strong style match that Vader would more get into, the Makabe match, but it's just a different style, and the business is evolving, and there are different things for different people. It's like trying to compare like Chikara to Ring of Honor. They're like they both have like really good athletic contests, but I mean one's based off of lucha and one's based off of more like a serious athletic competition. So
yeah, and it is the way that the place is evolving now. That's why the rise of guys like Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins have, and of course now Sami Zayn have, come to light because of what these guys can do in the ring. William Regal, this was not at least directly pointed to Vader, but there was obviously a lot of discussion with the match and everything that went on with it. And Regal went on and said, "I watched the match and was shocked. You need to start to doing real stuff like people from my era, like kip-ups, flying head scissors, cartwheels, and crisscrosses. Get a grip. When I started the job in '83, a lot of older fellows used to say that Mark Rocco and Marty Jones, who are the real pioneers of the CW style, killed the business because they did too much. Although they may not admit it anymore, most of the heavyweights in Europe thought the brilliant lightweight and middleweight wrestlers were bad for the job because their style was not believable enough. Every country I've worked in before I came to the U.S. had different styles and ways of doing things. As long as there's effort, then it's right. If the people paying you are happy and you get reactions, then you make your stuff look as good as it can be with what skills you have. May not be for everyone, but that's okay. In the match, I saw two fellows who looked like fighters having an excellent, hard, competed match in a different style. Win-win." Matt, what were your thoughts on Regal's comments here?
I thought Regal dropped the mic, so to speak, on this entire argument.
Yeah.
I felt if anybody had the right to say that this match was unacceptable or not the way things should be done, it was William Regal. When William Regal decides to put his stamp on something, I think everybody in the world of professional wrestling should take notice, because I don't think anybody in the world knows every style of pro wrestling better than William Regal. And I truly felt like when Regal did that, when Regal put out his thoughts that weekend, I'm like, yeah, Regal just dropped the mic. Nothing else needs to be said. This discussion is done. Mm-hmm. And that's how I felt.
Trevor, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I 100% agree with what Regal said. I mean, I have a ton of respect for William Regal, both by what he can do in the ring and what he does outside of the ring. He helps train people. And he takes a lot of guys and helps mold them. And I think he knows exactly what he's talking about. And
oh yeah,
and he just has a wealth of knowledge that not many people in the wrestling business have. I mean, there's very few names that you can name out that just has this breadth of knowledge that William Regal has.
Yeah, and when Matt and I talked about who should be a GM, I go, well, Regal's been so good at that. Matt had a great counter saying that it would be kind of detrimental to the Performance Center if they lost Regal in NXT, and that's a very good point. Like I said I did not say Vader was wrong, and I think tweeted to him and said, I don't agree with you, but I've followed your career long enough where I have the utmost respect for your words and truly respect what you have to say. I just wish everybody did, because I'm sure he got a lot of dumbass trolls on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's the internet. There's going to be, assholes.
And that's what I tell everybody. That's what the block button's for. I mean, honestly, all these people are doing are fishing for replies. If you don't like what somebody says to you on Twitter, block them. I mean, don't do that to your friends or family or whatever. Hash that out with them. If it's but if it's just some stranger that you've never heard of before, it's coming at you and giving you shit on social media, don't respond. What they want, just block and move on. It's not worth your time.
Yeah,
and honestly,
want a response.
Yeah, honestly, 9 times out of 10, it's just someone that says something asshole-ish just to get you to respond to them, because it validates what they're saying.
Yeah, they want to get famous for 5 minutes. Ricochet took to Twitter and said the following: "People don't understand that professional wrestling is an art, and much like any art, there are endless ways to express it. It can literally be anything the performers in the ring want it to be. If 2 guys want to go out there and use light bulbs and light each other on fire, then that's their way of expressing their style of wrestling. If they want to go out there and go hold for hold and keep it mat-based, then that is their way of expressing their style of wrestling. If 2 guys want to go out there and clothesline each other real hard and chop each other for 5 minutes straight, then that is their way of expressing their style of wrestling. If 2 guys want to go out there and use comedy and make the people happy and laugh, then that is their way of expressing their style of wrestling. If 2 guys want to go out there and use aerial maneuvers and acrobatics to wow the crowd, then guess what? That is their way of expressing their style of wrestling. Although you may not agree or like a certain style, it does not mean it isn't wrestling. Did it used to be a certain way? Yeah. But like anything, it changed, it evolved. And Trevor, I think that was just a classy way to put it.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't remember what wrestlers said it this weekend, and I really wish I did, so I give them credit for it. But one wrestler said this weekend, you know the best way to kill the business? Everybody wrestled the exact same way.
Uh-huh.
And I wish I could remember who said that, but as soon as they said that, I'm like, amen.
Yeah, good
because
point.
That absolutely would kill the business. It's the variety of styles that keeps people interested. If everybody was the same, pro wrestling would not be what it is today.
No. It would be what we watch on ESPNU, Iowa versus, Oklahoma, amateur wrestling. There you go. It's all the same. Will Ospreay, though, his reaction, his response was a little different. Did you guys see this?
The Vader bomb.
Yeah, Will Ospreay in his next match does the Vader bomb and puts up the V. That's just because Ospreay's a young, cocky prick, character-wise. So I think
I laughed. I thought it was hilarious.
I think as a wrestler, when Ospreay did that, bravo. Trevor, did you like that?
Yeah, it's fun to do stuff like that. It's especially, you see that stuff from like the Young Bucks all the time. Like, you just take it on the chin and have fun with it. Because you know what, it's just going to create more of a buzz for you and your brand. And the more you get out there, the more desirable you are, and the more money you can make in the wrestling business. So it's smart.
Cody Rhodes has a couple of Twitter accounts, but this one is from his wrestling persona, Cody Rhodes, at Cody Rhodes.
Speaking of improving your brand right here.
This was innovative, creative, fun, awesome, and got a great response by Wade Barrett. But just the other day, Cody Rhodes took to Twitter in a black and white photo. Looks like he's wearing a suit, has his hands crossed, and in front of it is a checklist. Let's go over that checklist, shall we? Adam Cole, baby. Dalton Castle. BOLA, they're in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, but I'm not familiar with them.
No, it's the Battle of Los Angeles.
It's
an
the
event. That is Pro Wrestling Guerrilla's WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
Obviously he wants to compete in the Battle of Los Angeles. It is a who's who of the independent circuit. They get together for one weekend and hold a massive 3-day tournament, and it's always freaking awesome.
Oh, okay.
That's what for Cody to want to be involved in that, that'd be freaking sick.
I think I heard Taz mention it in quick passing, so I thought it was a team or something. I had no idea what it was. Next on the checklist, Angle, then Hero.
Just happening. Him and Angle is happening.
Yes, we'll talk about that. Then the Miracle, Moose, Pat Buck, I think is what it says. I can't read that.
Yeah, Pat Buck.
The Streamers thing, the Young Bucks, Trevor Lee, Shibata, personal ring announcer, Roderick Strong. That's quite a well-rounded list, don't you guys say?
It is, and the majority of that list can be found in one place.
Yup.
Yeah.
Called Ring of Honor.
Yes, only a couple of names are TNA. That would be The Miracle and Trevor Lee.
And I'm pretty sure Trevor Lee still does stuff at Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. And
that's still a possibility, yeah.
Yeah, and if you're under Ring of Honor contract, a lot of the upper tier talent of Ring of Honor right now have new stipulations in their contract that allow them to work Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, as long as it does not impede on a Ring of Honor date where they're needed instead. So, I mean, honestly, the key to everything for Cody Rhodes is to go to Ring of Honor.
Yeah. And this prompted a couple of funny responses. The Young Bucks responded with their own checklist that just said super kick, super kick, super kick, super kick.
Well, they also asked Cody Rhodes if he wanted to join the Bullet Club.
Wade Barrett responded with his sheet only had one checkbox and it said Papa Shango.
Hey,
that's an ongoing joke. If you guys don't know that, every year Wade Barrett always came out and said that Papa Shango was going to be in the Royal Rumble. So it's obviously Wade's just continuing on the Papa Shango joke, and I think it's great. I love Wade.
Cody put that after 8/19, so apparently his no compete is done on 8/19.
Yeah,
and just a couple of days later, just a couple of days later, we found out his first date is going to be 8/27, day after my birthday. So if you guys want to fly me out to Wappingers Falls in New York, it is the Under the Stars Stadium show for Northeast Wrestling. And how about this? Cody Rhodes against Kurt Angle for the first time ever. Wow. That's a good statement match after you leave the WWE, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, they've also got Jeff Hardy again against Juice of Thunder Liger.
For the very first time,
yeah,
too.
I mean, this card's freaking awesome, and I'm assuming that it's going to be taped. Um,
oh God, I hope so because I want to see that.
yeah, so do
match.
I mean, it'd be stupid for them to not do that.
There is a couple of promotions that are starting to kind of come up on the upswing. One of them is Revolution Sports, and this is founded. This project has been in the works for some time, according to Mike Johnson from PW Insider. It was originally called Classic Wrestling Revolution. Now it's called Revolution Sports. And this has with Shane Douglas, Road Warrior Animal are involved. Douglas is listed as the chief operating officer of Revolution Sports International. Yeah, I believe Piper was a color commentator on some of their older shows when they were CWR. And one of the main backers is a guy who Bill Townsend, who's an internet entrepreneur. He helped create a lot of online platforms, including Lycos.com. So I'm assuming, nobody uses Lycos anymore. So once that, he must have just bailed when it was hot, at the right time, and got his billions and walked away. But they're planning on the promotion is going to be based out of Las Vegas with an eye on presenting a non PG-13 style product with baby faces versus heels. Capturing the 18 to 34 demographic of males, which who isn't. And do you see any hope with this?
Are you talking to me or Trevor?
I mean,
either one of you.
Honestly,
do you see this getting off the ground quicker than Global Force Wrestling?
Anything that Shane Douglas seems to be a part of post ECW hasn't really gone well.
Bingo.
So I mean, I don't know. I don't know who's actually doing the financial backing, who's actually in charge there, and that may sway it in going one way or the other. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, look at Global Force Wrestling. What the fuck is Global Force Wrestling at this point? I mean, no offense to Jared or the guys putting on the shows, because I'm sure the shows are actually really good because there's a ton of good talent on those shows. But I mean, it's just one of those things where it's they haven't secured a TV deal. They're not even putting it out online for people to watch or anything like that. So I mean, I just don't know what exactly they're doing there, than what exactly it is at this moment, at this juncture. What really is Global Force Wrestling? But yeah,
if you listen to Jeff Jarrett claims that he does not want to air the product until he has global TV contracts. And
which, apparently that makes sense.
He already has contracts in Australia and the United Kingdom and stuff like that to air the show, but he doesn't want to air it until he's got a television placement in the United States.
Yeah,
which is obviously his major holdup right now.
Right, and that's going to be the toughest place to do it.
Because TNA's ruining things for everybody.
Well, I mean, you look internationally, and TNA does well internationally. So
yeah, that's the only way they're going to float is keep afloat if they lose this current one is of course we had speculated that they just may be going international for the longest time until this Pop thing came.
I think they'll be fine on Pop for however long their contract is with that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could be something cool, but you see so many of these like promotions that are just hey, yeah, we're gonna have TV and stuff, and then nothing really ever comes to fruition, or they run a few shows and then they're done. So I mean, the odds are low that it actually does anything. But good luck to them. I hope it does. It's always good to have an alternate product. It's always good to have something somewhere else that guys can make money. That's not a bad thing. So I mean, I hope it does well. For the guys that work for it, but the odds are very much stacked against it.
Have you guys heard of Wildcat Sports Entertainment as well? That's another promotion that's kind of on the upstart. Mike Johnson himself said that it's been they put on some good stuff.
Yeah, that's
out of Louisiana. Luke Hawx.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask. Luke Hawx. I was trying to think of his name for a minute there, but yeah, I've heard good things. And
they just secured a TV deal locally with My Network TV in in Louisiana, in New Orleans.
You also need to keep in mind local wrestling promotions are on all over the United States.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Just because we don't get it doesn't mean that it's not on. It's the national TV deals that really matter for like a global force or the company Shane Douglas is involved in, or
right, because like Gallows has his promotion that runs out of Georgia, I believe, that has a TV deal in those areas, and Booker T's promotion has a TV deal in the Texas area. So, I mean, it's not unheard of for smaller wrestling companies to get deals like that. But that's not a bad thing. That's really cool for anybody that lives in those areas to get that TV. I mean, PWX up in this area has TV on Verizon Fios, so for a local station. So I mean, it's pretty common for local wrestling promotions to get airtime where they're at.
And in this week in odd news from the Attitude Era, WCW announcer Tony Schiavone is planning to work for Starbucks as a barista in Virginia. So if you want to say hi to Tony while getting a latte and you're in Virginia, you may just be in luck.
Would this be the greatest cappuccino in the history of our sport?
It might.
I think
will it put butts in the seats though?
I was gonna say that if you go up to him and get a cappuccino, make sure he writes on the cup that says "That'll put asses in the seats."
That's my name. What's your name? My name is That'll Put Asses in the Seats. You asshole. That's how you get spit in your latte. John Cena came back on Monday Night Raw, and there was a nice little T-shirt design, and it looked quite similar to the PBR logo, which prompted Pabst Blue Ribbon to tweet out a message to John Cena in the WWE. We have a chokehold called the Cease and Desists. Pretty sure we see you. Do they have a case here, Matt?
I don't really know if they truly had a case. But WWE obviously didn't want to deal with it. The funny thing is, I do know there are some people online who placed their orders for that shirt early enough that did receive it earlier this week.
Oh shit!
So that shirt is in the wild, and I would personally I would not wear it. I would hold on to it, and I think it'll probably end up being very valuable to a John Cena collector in like 5 years.
And honestly, when I saw that logo, the first thing that came to mind was PBR.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, when I saw that, I was like, I was about to make a tweet that said, man, that John Cena shirt just looks like an advertisement for Pabst Blue Ribbon. And then I just saw that was everywhere already. So,
and I honestly think it was more important for WWE to change the design for the simple purpose that John Cena, I would say 85 to 90% of his marketing is to children.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important. Like, even though I think if PBR and WWE went to court, I think WWE would win, and I don't really think there'd be anything huge there. But at the same token, I don't think John Cena should have merchandise that looks like a beer logo, and little kids should be running around wearing shirts that pretty much promote and advertise alcohol. So
what they did was they took out the rectangle and the red diagonal stripe, and they took away they changed the font of Hustle, Loyalty, and Respect too. So not a huge overhaul, but they basically removed the stripe, changed the font, and now
I don't know why Cena's just not saluting on this gear, because honestly, the way he looks and the way the John Cena character is drawn, if you look at it, it almost looks like he has a Hitler mustache, and if his hand was out instead of fist, it almost looks like he's hailing Hitler.
Well, maybe he is.
Whoever drew that did not do a good job. Like, seriously, go look at the logo. It looks like he has a Hitler mustache.
I'm totally looking at it now, and yeah, I never noticed it before, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. that was quite interesting. But and that was, let's see, they tweeted that out on the 27th.
It was Friday.
So that was just a couple days from Raw. So
Hail Hydra, John Cena. Hail Hydra.
Yeah. Speaking of John Cena, some rare footage coming to the WWE Network. They're going to show the rise of John Cena. What's interesting for this is it's going to be the first time on the network that we see footage from Ohio Valley Wrestling and UPW as well. So you'll get to see the jacked up
some OVW shit on the network, man.
I know. There's a lot of it. Hey, like, Cody Rhodes got his start there. Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton. Batista.
Benjamin, Charlie Haas. I mean, they have a lot of stuff on there.
CM Punk.
Yeah.
Hey, there was an era down there where Paul Heyman was producing all of the OVW TV. I would love to be able to sit down and watch all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You own the damn stuff, WWE. Put it on the damn network.
Yeah, I guess they like to trickle that shit out because more SmackDown's getting added pretty soon, I think. Yeah. From Meltzer at the Wrestling Observer.
This has got to be legit.
And there's Matt's thoughts on it already.
I don't even know what it is. I just as soon as you say it's being reported by Meltzer, whatever. Let's hear it.
Separate announced teams are coming to pay-per-views, and big crossover Raw episodes planned. Something we assumed Raw and SmackDown were going to have separate announced teams, no Byron Saxton on them both. So that's not really a big shot in the dark there, but he did report that.
Any idiot could come out and say there's going to be separate commentary teams for the pay-per-views. No shit, Sherlock.
He also reported that big crossover episodes of Raw are planned twice a year, one after the night after SummerSlam and one after the night after WrestleMania.
That makes sense.
So 2 nights, 2 big nights. The Raw after 2 of the biggest pay-per-views will have crossover shows, which will be pretty cool.
I don't even know if I really like that.
Twice, not only twice a year.
I don't know if I really like that for the simple fact of SmackDown's getting double the exposure those weeks because it ain't gonna be a joint Raw and SmackDown show on Tuesday nights.
Maybe it will be. Maybe it'll be a crossover event.
All
just
right,
like Flash and Arrow. Okay.
Okay, well, if you're doing both shows, if Raw and SmackDown together, both nights following SummerSlam and Mania, I'm cool with that. But if it's just we're together on Raw, but it's just solo SmackDown the next night, I think that's stupid.
Yeah, I
agree.
It's hard to tell. Again, lots of shit up in the air right now, and we got a whole lot of answers on Monday, didn't we?
Oh yeah, so many answers. It was almost as if the WWE creative team said, hey, everybody has questions. We don't want to give answers yet. Let's go make fun of those people who are asking questions about the draft.
I really just don't think they know yet, in all honesty.
Which is even sadder.
I just don't think they've decided
really
on
sad.
everything, Yeah.
You should at least have the basic foundation laid out. Are teams staying together? What happens with the championships? I mean, stuff like that. This stuff should already be decided upon. And the fact that it might not be figured out yet says everything you need to know about what's wrong with WWE's creative process.
Yeah, because after Extreme Rules let me pull up a calendar quick here. Extreme Rules, is that on the 19th of June?
You mean Money in the Bank?
Money in the Bank. I mean,
yeah, Money in the Bank.
If that's the 19th of June, we're hypothetically looking at 3 weeks away from the draft. So
you know what's crazy? The week that SmackDown goes live, that's Sunday's Battleground. So SmackDown's only going to have one solo show before Battleground that Sunday.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, and Battleground's in DC, and I have no desire to go. They really have done nothing to convince me to part me with my money right now. I'm so glad I didn't go to Raw in Baltimore. And they're really not giving me any reasons to want to go to Battleground either.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so weird that they would do that. Well, the draft would be hypothetically on Raw, so there would be there'd be 2 weeks of that talk, and split. But yeah, the live SmackDown is, that's so crazy that they would do it right before a pay-per-view. But you know why? Timing is everything. Keep everything fresh. That gets more people to buy the network.
I can't remember if it was Taz or if it was PW Insider that suggested it, but I heard this earlier this week and I really liked it. The idea that the night of the draft, 8 to 10 would be Raw, and from 10 to 11 the draft would start. And if you wanted to continue on with the draft after 11 p.m., it would be exclusively be on the WWE Network.
That'd be sweet.
And I really liked that idea. I thought that was really great. So I can't remember if that was Taz or PW Insider, but one of them suggested that earlier this week, and I heard that. I'm like, you know what? I really like that. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, that's definitely a good idea. And on Twitter, AJ Lee, April Brooks, she has noted on Twitter that she has completed writing her first book, and the book deal was announced in November of last year, and it is called Crazy Is My Superpower, a literary memoir chronicling her unlikely rise from a 100-pound nerd growing up in extreme poverty and enduring years of abuse to international sex symbol and professional wrestling champion, who fought against stereotypes, forced men in the industry to view her with respect, and inspired a huge fan base of over 2 million Twitter followers with a fierce independent streak. Would this be a book that strikes your fancy, Matt? Nope. Trevor?
Yeah, I actually think it might be pretty interesting. Especially when you get into, I don't know how far it'll go into the end of her career. But that stuff could be real interesting to.
That would surely be the only. That would surely be the only part I'd be interested in. Is the excerpts on her actual WWE run from start to finish. Anything before that, I don't have any interest in. I mean, she's no longer a public figure. I don't really feel the need to know about every aspect of her life growing up. I always like hearing the backstage going on of what happens in WWE, but I mean beyond that, I don't really have any interest in the project as a whole.
Yeah. We ran a poll on Twitter. We actually ran a couple polls here. First one we ran the other day was, would you like to see a WWE Women's Money in the Bank match? As there are some rumors flying around, not concrete, solid rumors, but there are some rumors around that this could be an announcement. We had some people vote in the poll. 62% people said yes, and 38% said no. Matt, would you like to see the women do a Money in the Bank ladder match?
It would heavily depend on who's in it, and how many girls are in it. Under the best circumstances, yes, I would like to see it, but I mean it could easily be a disaster.
How many would you? Well, how many would you like in it? Five,
six? Tops.
Tops,
maybe even go with 4.
Sure.
But the idea to continue to make the women's division seem important and standard, a Money in the Bank idea is great. A tag team title is great. I think anything that you can continue to do to make the women's division stand out and become legitimate in the eyes of the fan who hasn't bought into it yet is a good thing.
Well, as what we get with creative from time to time, and hopefully that brand split fixes a lot of that shit, but this is just instant shit that creative has in their lap to write about. It's right there. You got a briefcase holder stocking the champion, tag teams forming, that shit just writes itself, and creative is having a hard time coming up with ideas that those are some obvious ones. Trevor, would you like to see the women in a Money in the Bank ladder match?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to make the argument that the women's championship should be on par with the WWE championship, then yeah, I absolutely think they should.
I don't get the argument of saying just because the men do it, the women shouldn't have to do it. I don't get that argument at all.
I don't necessarily think that per se, but I also think if they do that, it shows their commitment to making it on par.
And I think if the women want to do it, I think there's no reason why they shouldn't be allowed to.
Exactly. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, imagine like back in the day when Lita could do it. Lita in a Money in the Bank ladder match. Holy fucking shit, would that be awesome? We had been teased for a little while now of a hatch, and we all thought it was the return of Bray Wyatt, but no.
May. He was calling WWE 2K17 all weekend, and nobody wanted to listen to May.
I didn't hear that part, but I will. I'm not doubting you. I'm just saying I didn't hear that. Everybody thought it was Bray Wyatt, including myself, but no. It was a commercial that aired during Raw for the brand new WWE 2K17 video game, where if you pre-order, you can play as Goldberg. Matt, did you like the spot first of all, and do you like the idea?
I love the spot. This pre-order absolutely blows away last year's Arnold Schwarzenegger pre-order, and I mean, you're getting WCW Goldberg, WWE Goldberg, WCW Monday Nitro, and Halloween Havoc. To me, that's probably one of the best overall pre-order bonuses a WWE video game has ever had. Like, you're getting a lot of content there for throwing your money down and pre-ordering, and it's always been I know for a fact that 2K has tried to get Goldberg in every year since 2K started working with WWE, and it's always a thing with Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon never wants to get along with Bill Goldberg. I don't know where the animosity comes from. I don't know why there's so much heat, but apparently cooler heads prevailed this year, and they finally got the green light to do it, and I think it's great. I love that Goldberg's in. I think the tease at the end of the commercial that he's headed to Suplex City is the confirmation that Brock Lesnar will be on the cover of WWE 2K17. And if that means we are getting a Brock Lesnar showcase mode, which would make sense for Goldberg to be included, I would also like to think that means that Kurt Angle will be returning to WWE games this year to give us the WrestleMania 19 match against Brock Lesnar from Seattle.
When Brock Lesnar for some reason attempted a moonsault and knocked himself
shooting star press. And
shooting star press.
If Kurt Angle would have been 1 foot closer, he would have nailed that thing, and it would have been beautiful. Angle was just too far away.
Trevor, did you like the spot? And does this give you excitement to pre-order the game?
I did like the spot. Like I don't know. I mean, this is gonna turn into a way deeper discussion if I go into this. But I don't think
we're actually gonna have that discussion down the line.
Well, I was gonna say I don't think anybody should pre-order games anymore. But
we will have you on along with a couple other guys, probably Charles and Scott. I think we're going to have a little 2K roundtable on the show here down the road. So we'll talk about those details later on.
But it is a great pre-order bonus. I will say that, and it's one that at least I know me and Matt have heard about for years of them trying to do and them not succeeding, because WWE is very meticulous with who gets in the game and who's not, and they're very picky about that. So.
All the women fiasco.
And dude, that women fiasco was all on WWE.
Yeah, it was.
You know what? I love to blame 2K for as many things as possible when they deserve it. And they deserve it for a lot of things. But the 4 horsewomen being absent from WWE 2K16 was 100% Vince McMahon decision, and 2K had there was nothing that they could do about it. Nothing. Mm-hmm. You know, ridiculous. And at the end of the day, 2K takes most of the heat. But truth be told, that if you're mad that Sasha and Charlotte and company were not in 2K16, that was squarely on the shoulders of Vince McMahon.
And hey, they used Goldberg's WCW theme, not the remix theme that WWE did.
Which I'm assuming that means we'll get both themes in the game, which is even better.
Do you think Vince was just butthurt with the whole WrestleMania fiasco when him and Brock left?
Probably. And I don't know. I don't know all the details.
But Brock is here, though. I mean, so but Bill may have been more of an
value to Vince.
Exactly.
And Goldberg could have been more of an asshole too.
Yeah, you never know. But I'm legitimately. I had no hype for 2K17 whatsoever, and I won't lie. hearing about the pre-order bonus of being Goldberg and seeing the commercial got me excited. I mean, I won't pre-order the game until it's downloadable, preloadable on the Xbox One in October. I buy all my games digitally now. And, so I'll get it early, and I'll get the Goldberg will obviously come with it. But if you're a fan of Goldberg and you've been waiting for him to be back in any form of WWE, this is it. And I think it's great. And Goldberg seems very overly humbled on Twitter this week, with all the overexcitement and support that everybody's given him about being back with the franchise. And I truly believe this is the same steps that helped the Ultimate Warrior and Sting enter the WWE fold through the hands of 2K. I would not be surprised to see Goldberg step into the ring again in Orlando at WrestleMania 33 to face somebody in a final match. I really would not.
Goldberg was quoted as saying, "I've got 50 more matches in me, but obviously I'm not, I am 30 pounds lighter. There's no need for me to have traps up to my neck anymore," is what he said. But he said, "I have plenty of matches in me." He's 49, but he doesn't have a lot of mileage on him. The press release from 2K came out on yesterday. 2K announced that legendary WCW and WWE star Bill Goldberg will make his virtual return in WWE 2K17, the forthcoming release in the flagship WWE video game franchise, best known for his unprecedented 173-0 kayfabe singles competition win streak in WCW from 1997 to 1998.
Does not say kayfabe in there.
I said kayfabe because it wasn't 173.
Can't say the K word. Taz will choke you out.
Goldberg will appear in WWE 2K17 through two playable characters representing his WCW and WWE personas. The playable characters, along with two playable arenas, WCW Monday Nitro and Halloween Havoc, will be available as bonus content for those who pre-order the game at participating retailers for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3, as well as Xbox One and Xbox 360, scheduled for a worldwide release in October 2016. And Goldberg says in the official statement on the press release, after 12 years away from the business, "I'm incredibly honored to work with WWE and 2K while following in the footsteps of such greats as the Ultimate Warrior, Sting, and Arnold Schwarzenegger," said Goldberg. "My son was a big part of this coming together, and I can't wait for him to see his dad kicking ass in the WWE ring through the magic of video games. I encountered the likes of The Rock, Triple H, Brock Lesnar, and Ric Flair during my WWE career, and now through WWE 2K17, I'll be taking on the biggest and baddest superstars of today, showing them once and for all that I am still the man." So, very cool. Generated a lot of buzz, and it was...
it's very positive buzz, too.
Positive buzz, right? Yeah.
Which is rare for a 2K pre-order bonus. I mean, after
oh, that Terminator one was shitty.
Yeah, that went over like a fart in church.
Jesus, I mean, the only cool thing about the Terminator thing was the commercial.
Yeah,
everything but everything else about it was just like, it's the Terminator. Who gives a shit? Like I didn't even pre-order. I don't even have the Terminator game. I didn't buy it afterwards because they wanted to sell it for like $5, and I was like, screw that. So
take the Terminator.
I wonder how many that sold when it went on sale for $5.
I hope none.
Yeah. Update for the Super Juniors, as this is mostly updated through, I believe, the 29th through 30th of May. Block A, David Finlay defeated Gato. Bushi defeated Rocky Romero. Matt Sydal defeated Kyle O'Reilly. And Kushida defeated Taguchi. So right now in Block A, we got three guys, Taguchi, O'Reilly, and Sydal, on top of Block A with 6 points each. Trevor, are you surprised with Sydal being on top of this right now, tied?
No, not really.
No?
I mean, to an extent, yeah, I guess, but not really. I mean, Sydal's a great wrestler. I mean, he's been really good for a long, long time, and I think he definitely fits in with that New Japan Super Junior style. So, and he's the current one half of the NJPW Junior Tag Team Champs with Ricochet. So.
Yeah. Are you surprised Ricky Romero is trailing behind at 4?
No, but I could see Rocky Romero getting points to get him back up there. But I think he would also still be kind of a dark horse to win as well at this point. There's so much talent in this tournament this year that it's still kind of hard to pick a winner.
How many more matches are left in the round robin stages?
Honestly, I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Okay. But in Block A, Taguchi, O'Reilly, and Seidel lead with 6 points each. Romero is right behind them at 4, while Finlay, Gato, and Bushi are at 2. On Block B, Chase Owens defeated Beretta. Tiger Mask 4 defeated Will Ospreay. Bobby Fish defeated Volador Jr. Ricochet defeated Jushin Thunder Liger. We have Ricochet all alone at 6 points for Block B. A big log jam of everybody else but Will Ospreay at 4 points. And Will Ospreay, even though he did get that win against Ricochet, that is his only points at 2. Trevor, this is a big mashup right now. Who do you see Ricochet holding on to this lead, or do you see a Volador Jr. or a Beretta, or maybe even the wily veteran Liger just kind of surprising everybody and coming up?
I don't see Liger winning it at this point. I think he's used more to have like big matches and have a lot of fun matches that the crowd will get into at this point. I could see maybe if they want to tell an underdog story. Granted, I'm not sure exactly how many matches where they could have Ospreay come back, and then it ends up being the finals of the B block is Ricochet and Ospreay 2. I could definitely see them doing that. But Beretta could totally be a dark horse in this whole tournament.
And he just lost, but he's still right in it at 4 because there's 6 guys sitting there at 4 points.
Yeah, because he's been showing a lot of awesome stuff. Him and Romero. They're obviously a tag team. Both those guys are really, really good.
Mm-hmm. I still wish the Bucks didn't get hurt. I would have loved to see the Bucks get in here and mix it up with these guys as well.
I have no idea why, but I thought at the beginning of this tournament I was going to see Ricochet and Seidel against each other in the finals, and I'm still going to stick with that. I think for some reason the tag champions are going to go against each other in the finals, and I think it's going to be Ricochet and Seidel.
That's
I don't
right
know.
now.
I think it might end up being basically one of those guys against the other member of Red Dragon, potentially. So if it's Seidel, it might be Seidel and Fish, or it might end up just being Ricochet and O'Reilly.
And O'Reilly. Well, that'd be.
Well, O'Reilly was in the
too.
finals last year. I would say unless O'Reilly's going to win it all, I wouldn't put him in the finals 2 years in a row.
I think he might win it all.
He could.
He's definitely probably the favorite to win, I would say, this year, especially after his performance last year. So it's definitely possible.
Mm-hmm. We covered this on the show last year at this time, something new that the WWE has done, and they're offering it once again. They are offering an all-access package to the WWE Performance Center, and basically they say, do you want to know what it takes to become a WWE superstar? Have you ever wondered what goes into putting together a WWE live event? Now you can have the incredible opportunity to experience all that and more when you go behind the scenes at the Performance Center, all access. With this experience, you get to share a light breakfast and lunch with NXT superstars, participate in a Q&A orientation session with the coaching staff, attend a Q&A and autograph session with the NXT superstars, sign a one-day WWE booking contract, which we wish we all could do, granting admission to private NXT live event at the Performance Center that you will help produce, manage, and watch alongside your favorite superstars. Take an all-access tour of the Performance Center, get an inside look at a private NXT training session, learn the ropes during a promo class, then create your own promo video, create your very own entrance as the NXT superstars cheer you on. Plus, you'll get to take some of the experience home with you with keepsakes, including a commemorative credential, all-access credential, a Performance Center gift bag, limited edition chair signed by the NXT superstars, the Performance Center all-access highlight reel, which you can download after the experience, your personal promo video, which is also available to download after the experience. Professional photos are also taken throughout the day. And just like last year, the all-access experience is $14.99 per person, travel and lodging not included.
I wish I had money to burn.
Because
honestly, this would be such a cool experience. But I mean, $1,500. It's just to me, I just can't stomach that price. But honestly, what a cool thing to attend. As a professional wrestling fan, to go and do something like that, I would love to do something like that. If I had money to burn.
Yeah, and didn't they show some of that stuff on Breaking Ground?
I believe some clips, not much of it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Trevor, would if you had $14.99 to burn, you'd go down there?
Oh, definitely. I'd go down there and I'd try to get a job.
That'd be a great. Yeah, I would angle for one too. That'd be a great podcast too. Us cutting promos. I don't know. I don't think I could cut a promo.
I can. I've done it.
Well, yeah, you're the commissioner. Raw rating on Memorial Day drops slightly. Actually, I think this is not a bad number for it being a holiday. 3.229 million was the number, just down very slightly, only down about 40,000 from the week before. They did have to go against the Western Conference Finals, Game 7, which did 16 million viewers plus a holiday. So not a bad number. So you said, could John Cena move the needle, Matt? Does this number kind of say, yeah, a little bit?
Not really. They've been doing the same ratings all year. So, no, I really don't believe John Cena moved the needle at all.
It's a holiday show, though, so. Go to NXT this week. We are 1 week away from NXT Takeover The End. And we kick it off with Dash and Dawson in the ring. And they claim they're going to take back their titles next week at Takeover, when they're interrupted by Gargano and Ciampa, who have now been on the show, I think, 3 straight weeks. These guys have been getting a lot of run on NXT lately. They talk some smack to the Revival, and this eventually leads into a match that'll happen here later on tonight. And Matt, you were not impressed with that promo, were you?
I honestly, I thought their back and forth was really bad. I didn't like the opening promo at all.
Trevor, did you feel the opening promo, or did you think it was a hot mess?
I didn't think it was great either, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
I think they all need a lot more work, but I also think like Dash and Dawson's backstage like promos are a lot better. Like their pre-tapes end up being a lot better than their. Maybe they're just not used to doing it in front of a crowd.
And that's what a lot of NXT is for too.
Exactly.
But then we go to the other side of the coin. Kathy Kelly interviewing Shinsuke Nakamura, and it was short and sweet to the point. But Nakamura says that Austin Aries will bow down to the King of Strong Style, and then he takes off.
It was magical.
Ty Dillinger took on Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy without his little buddy Blake, and also no Alexa either. He takes on the Perfect 10 Ty Dillinger, so that finally opens up the door for Dillinger to get a win. Pretty decent match, so not too bad. Then we get the sit down with Corey Graves, Samoa Joe, and Finn Balor. Matt, what did you think of that sit down?
I thought it was awesome, and I felt it made the opening promo look even worse.
It did. I love how Corey Graves never tried to defuse the situation.
Wasn't his job to.
Well, when sometimes like a Michael Cole will try to diffuse it, and
but that makes sense from Michael Cole's character standpoint. But Corey Graves, I mean, he's a heel.
He'd like to see the match, right?
He wants to see him fight right there,
right in front of him. Yeah. So a good one there, and we'll go over our predictions for that takeover event here at the end of the show. The Drifter takes on Austin Aries, and Aries pulls the last chancery out to make Samson tap out. God, has he used that in NXT? I can't remember.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. And then we got Gargano and Ciampa against Dash and Dawson. Again, as expected, a great The promo may have been sloppy and not that interesting, but the in-ring work between these two teams was good, I thought. And how about this? Out of nowhere, Gargano and Ciampa get the win. What did you think of them getting the win there, Matt?
It made me second guess if American Alpha was being called up to the main roster or not.
Oh, so you think this may lead to the Revival winning, and maybe this is why Gargano and Ciampa have been on NXT so much lately?
I was pretty positive American Alpha was retaining until this loss. And the only reason I feel that American Alpha would lose next Wednesday is if they're being brought up as part of the draft. And if they're not being brought up, they're going to retain. But if they've been called up, and the Revival win the tag titles back, they have an automatically built-in number one contender of a team that just beat them tonight.
I don't know if it was Meltzer or somebody. They thought that Alpha was getting the call up in the fall, but I think that he made that call before the announcement of the brand split, so that could change the whole landscape. Trevor, do you like Gargano and Ciampa as a tag team? Do you see them as a viable champion in NXT?
Yeah, definitely. I think they work great as a tag team. Actually, a lot better than I would have realized before they were actually teaming up. But I think they've done a really good job of becoming just like a good high action babyface tag team.
Yeah.
So I honestly, they're the next contenders, whether or not American Alpha actually retains.
And you could easily pull the trigger on Ciampa, turn the heel on Gargano, and have a good feud right there built in too. Contract signing for Nia Jax and Asuka, and as William Regal was starting to run down the accolades of Asuka's rise in NXT, Nia grabs the mic and says, "Well, everybody has been running scared from you for months, but why? You haven't done anything impressive. You kicked some girls in the head. You beat Bayley, but I broke Bayley," which drew a nice little ooh from the crowd. She broke the heart and soul of NXT, just like she's going to break Asuka. You call yourself the Empress of Tomorrow, but you've never faced anyone like me. There is no one like me, and I am the future. I am not scared of you, Asuka. Signs the contract, and Asuka, with a great response, saying that Nia talks too much, and says something in Japanese, and then says, if you're not scared of her, you should be. As far as contract signings go, I thought this one was pretty good, Trevor. Did you like it?
Yeah, definitely. I think Nia Jax is definitely starting to get more coming into her own, so to speak. And I like it. I mean, I think Nia Jax is awesome. I'm not going to say my prediction yet, but yeah, I'm looking forward to what they're going to put out there, and they had a really good segment tonight.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Nia Jax's promo. Matt, what did you think of the ending of NXT this week?
I thought it was good. You had to set up the challenger to look like a legitimate threat to the champ. So the powerbomb, the layout, Asuka to close the show was the right move to do it. I think it's going to be a good match. I thought it was Nia Jax's best promo to date, and I agree with Trevor. I feel she's becoming more comfortable in her own skin, and she's getting better every week. And that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to be doing down in NXT. You're supposed to be improving and getting better every week. So there ain't nothing wrong with that.
We ran a poll on our Twitter page, LITMC Podcast, tonight during NXT, and asked the question, should NXT add a television title? I'm a little surprised at the results, but we did have quite a bit come out and vote during the hour of NXT, and 54% say no. Matt, what would you think of adding a TV title to NXT?
Well, I told you before you put the poll up, I don't think NXT needs another championship unless they were given a second hour of television. I think 3 championships on 1 hour of TV a week is enough, and I would be okay with the television championship on NXT if they were a 2-hour show. But as a 1 hour show, I don't think another singles championship is currently needed.
Trevor, what are your thoughts?
I agree with Matt, 100%.
All right, let's just go right into TakeOver. 5 matches are on the card. One is not completely official, but we know it's going to happen. and that is Andrade Cien Almas is going to be in action, so he'll take on a jobber, and he'll win, obviously, unless he's taking on Bobby Roode. So I don't think we're going to really cover that one. This one's probably obvious too, but Matt, what are your predictions on Shinsuke Nakamura against Austin Aries?
The only way Nakamura loses this match is if Bobby Roode and Eric Young debut and they form some kind of stable with Austin Aries. And I don't think WWE has the balls to do that, to acknowledge TNA as a group of that magnitude. So I'm going to say, to me, this match feels like a number one contendership match to the NXT Championship. So I say Nakamura goes over and challenges for the title in Brooklyn.
And if they did that, why don't they just do that with Samoa Joe to help him beat Finn Balor, instead of this match? But I'm going to go Nakamura, but I could see Aries cheating to complete the heel turn and do something like a nut shot or something to get the win. I can see that happening. I could see that happening, but I got to go Nakamura because I'm on the same page as you, Matt. I'm fully thinking Nakamura Joe in Brooklyn that's a headlining match right there that you have in front of you, and so I'm going to go with Nakamura. But I could see something funny happening, but I'm still going to go with Nakamura. Trevor, what would you say?
I mean, Brooklyn's their second biggest pay-per-view of the year. I really think it's going to be Nakamura. Unless they're bringing up Nakamura in the draft and they're going to need him otherwise, which is very possible.
That's also a great point. Yeah, if Aries goes over Nakamura, Nakamura's coming up.
Yeah, and
if
Nakamura, he does, it would be. I think it'll be a screw finish. But at the same time, I think even if Nakamura wins, he could totally still be called up, and they could have him on both shows like Sami Zayn was for a while.
Yeah, and is it either Madison Square Garden show or the Hawaii show? He's facing John Cena.
That was a rumor, actually.
Oh, that's just a rumor. Okay. Women's NXT Championship match, as we just closed the show this week with Asuka, your champion, against Nia Jax. Trevor, how do you see that one playing out?
Man, this one's tough. Because they could really I feel like they put. At least I thought that they were putting Nia Jax in there as a way for them to save Bayley and Asuka for SummerSlam weekend in Brooklyn.
But
at the same time, now that they had Nia Jax actually break Bayley and put it into the storyline that way, I almost would much rather see Nia Jax win, and it'd be Nia Jax and Bayley for the title.
She's the Bane to Batman. Breaking her back.
The problem is Bayley doesn't win in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I feel that Brooklyn is Bayley's swan song for the NXT brand, and I think she comes to the main roster after SummerSlam. So I would not want to see Nia Jax win the championship and then go on to face Bayley at SummerSlam and then beat Bayley again.
It would definitely. I think it would kind of hurt Bayley in a sense if they did that. I honestly think I think Asuka's gonna retain, although I would really like to see the storyline of Nia Jax becoming the women's champ.
Mm-hmm. I think Asuka's gonna retain as well. I think your headliner at Brooklyn is just like you're going to have a huge headliner for the men. They got to have a huge headliner for the women, and I think Bayley Asuka's rematch from WrestleMania is months in the making is what they need to go with there. So I still think Asuka's going to win. Tag team titles are on the line for NXT. American Alpha takes on the Revival. Matt, what do you see on this one? Are you letting the brand split creep into your mind, or are you going to stick with American Alpha?
I'm going to stick with American Alpha for now. But it's certainly possible that they could go in another direction.
I am too. I'm going to stick with American Alpha. I think their call-up is going to be later in the year. I think they're going to get a little more run with the tag titles, get a little more under their belt with feuds before they get put up into the main roster. I think Meltzer makes sense by holding them off until the fall. Trevor, how do you see the tag match coming out?
I think it's going to be American Alpha, in all honesty. But I could see it the other way too. But yeah, I think it's still going to be American Alpha.
Steel cage match for the NXT Championship. The very first time a steel cage match is going to be in NXT. Your champion Samoa Joe takes on Finn Balor. I fully expect Finn Balor to be a part of the draft, so this is clearly leading to Joe Nakamura in Brooklyn. I'm going Joe. Trevor?
Yeah, I agree. I think Joe, out of anybody in NXT right now that would be part of the draft, it's definitely Finn Balor, so I think that Joe is retaining here.
All right, and Matt, you agree?
You have to think Joe's going over here. One thing I would request them to do: no escape. But make this like the Ambrose Asylum, pinfall submission only. This is your first ever cage match in NXT. Do not let this match end in interference or some kind of stupid shenanigans. Let this be the war it's meant to be. With you're calling the show the end. Let this feel like a finality to this feud and let it end the right way. If you want to do a storyline after the match is over, that's perfectly fine, but don't do something during the match itself. And I would like to go back to the women's match we were speaking about earlier. They could always do a triple threat in Brooklyn.
That's true.
If they could, Asuka could be invoking her rematch clause. Bayley could be invoking hers. They could do a triple threat. Asuka could win the title back by pinning Nia Jax, which would send Bayley's exit to the main roster. So, the great thing about NXT is you look at the matches, and unlike the main roster, you really feel like, man, these could go either way. And that's What's so exciting about NXT as compared to the WWE anymore. Because the WWE, you can always feel something is heavily on one side, whereas NXT, you can see the argument on either side of the matches of why either person could win. And I think that's part of what makes NXT so great.
Yeah, and it happened exactly tonight on NXT's show when Gargano and Ciampa defeated the Revival. We all were, I would assume, I'll speak for both of you, we were conditioned WWE style that it was going to be a Revival victory, right?
I would have guessed Revival was going to win, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. That's our predictions for TakeOver. We will be recording right after TakeOver, so you'll get a fresh take on what happens there with that show. All right, now let's transition to Ring of Honor. And Matt, how great is it? We finally get to talk about Ring of Honor television this week.
Well, Ring of Honor television's finally back. It's not a highlight package show, so.
And before that, it was Honor Rising. Do they normally do this long of a stretch without TV? I've been watching.
Not normally, no.
Yeah, I don't remember anything like this last year when I first started watching it, but. Hey, it's okay. They're back. They're getting geared up for Best in the World, which takes place on. They're back to Friday, Matt. I think they said Friday, June. I'm
pretty sure 24th. It's Friday again.
Yeah, Friday, June 24th. So the Friday after Money in the Bank will be the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. Best in the World. It looks like a good card shaping up for it already. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We kick off the match, the night, with ACH against Lio Rush, and this was a fun little match. Obviously, Lio Rush, the winner of the Top Prospect Tournament, still trying to get his feet wet in Ring of Honor. But he got some good moves here, Matt. I thought Lio did a fair job here, but they also pimped that ACH and Matt Sydal are friendly splitting up. There no bad vibes between them. ACH says it's just time for him to go his own way. So I think ACH might be getting a television title push here very soon. Don't you think, Matt?
It certainly seems that way. To be honest, ROH puts everybody over ACH, so I expected Lio Rush to win. So I was surprised they actually gave ACH the win.
Yeah, and did you like how Lio Rush looked in this one?
Yeah, I thought the match was great.
Yeah. Trevor, did you get a chance to watch Ring of Honor this week?
I did not, but I can imagine how good that match was, actually. So.
Yeah. Yeah, ACH and Leo Rush. I don't think you could have gone wrong there. And now that Silas Young is finally done with his feud with Dalton Castle, it looks like he is starting a new one with ACH. So maybe that's another stepping stone for ACH to get a win over a veteran. And
it almost feels like Silas Young is there to set guys up for the television title.
Yeah.
I feel like Dalton Castle is heading for the television title.
They show footage of Dearborn, Michigan, when The Addiction, just the day after the pay-per-view, took the titles from War Machine, which I believe War Machine had 3 matches in 3 consecutive nights or 3 matches in 2 nights. I can't exactly remember how that all played out. It led to
3 matches in 2 nights.
Yeah, and because they took on Okada and somebody earlier that night, didn't they?
I don't remember. I don't remember who the opponents were earlier in the night. It might have been Okada and Elgin. I don't remember.
So the Addiction weaseled their way into a once again being the World Tag Team Champions of the world, and they bragged that no one is better than them. They have been undefeated and undisputed World Tag Team Champions of the world, even though they've been losing for about 2 months straight before that. Motor City Machine Guns make their way to the ring and said, well, the Addiction's nothing more than a couple of middle-aged douchebags, and if memory serves them right, they beat them twice in a Ring of Honor ring. And then Roppongi Vice's music hits, and they say that there's no way you're going to have a party in Toronto without Roppongi. And so that leads to Daniel saying he's had enough of the old jokes and the bald jokes. If you can beat us, you get a shot at us at Best in the World. So then that led to the 3-way dance where Sabin and Shelley get the W after hitting Skull and Bones. So basically, Matt, to me, this just seemed like they put the titles on the Addiction just so they could have this big already built-in feud for a Best in the World pay-per-view. Is that kind of how you saw that play out?
I guess I don't like how they took the titles off War Machine. So
yeah, I know you're not happy about that, and neither was I. Just to do it a day after the pay-per-view last month was odd. But obviously, this is a built-in feud. It's just kind of weird that it got hot-shotted to the tag team title picture. But hey, it adds to the show, I guess.
I just don't think a tag team that lost the night before to Cheeseburger and Liger should have been beating the team that just solidified their reign by beating the Briscoes the night before. I did not like the booking of that at all.
I mean,
normally I really like Ring of Honor's booking, but I did not like that at all.
I almost think that maybe they think the Addiction versus the Motor City Machine Guns will sell more pay-per-views than was War Machine versus the Addiction.
It'll move the meter a little more because this is their WrestleMania, right? Best in the World.
Yeah, I mean that could be why. Other than that, yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, I don't know why they would just take the belts off War Machine, not really give them a chance to go back for the titles. I mean,
yeah, but yeah, it's a built-in feud because Sabin turned on the Addiction and reformed the Machine Guns, so it's a marquee matchup, I guess. And Matt, was that did you just do like a cheer or a cuss or what was that?
It was a cheer. The Pittsburgh just won in overtime. So
Pittsburgh Penguins in the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, up 2-0 now.
I couldn't tell if it was a yes or a fuck.
No, it was a yes. It was a very excited thing. I tried to be as quiet as possible, so but I'm very, very excited. 2 games away from winning the Stanley Cup for the Penguins. I'm quite happy.
No problem at all. And we hope after the live SmackDown on Tuesdays, they move Impact to Wednesdays so then we can make fun of it as we record, like we used to.
Oh, God.
Main event time, but before we get to that, Matt Taven joins Kevin and Nigel. Karina was off for this week's television, it looks like. And Taven says that he is going to rebuild the kingdom and bring it back. So it'll be interesting to see who joins him when he comes back from that knee injury. I'm not sure when Taven is supposed to come back. I want to think still he's a little ways away yet, but I mean, if he's appearing at the commentary booth, he may only be a couple months away. So they make another announcement for Best in the World. Steve Corino will finally take on BJ Whitmer in a fight without honor. This was all led to a BJ stalking Corino's family, and Nigel said that this has to come to an end, and it will be so at Best in the World Fight Without Honor. Steve Corino, BJ Whitmer, and I'm sure I could speak for Matt that where hopefully Corino hits BJ in the ding ding, right?
Dude, I'm just so glad this feud's finally going to be over with. Because
you said that about Castle and
dude,
Silas, too.
You know what? I love Ring of Honor, but sometimes they extend these feuds from the undercard way too long, and this is another one that I'm going to be so glad when this is over and done with. And I really do hope Corino just beats the shit out of BJ Whitmer, and if we never have to see him again, I'll be totally okay with that.
Who do you hate more, BJ Whitmer or Bobby Fish?
Ooh.
Got him!
No, probably BJ Whitmer.
Oh, okay. I didn't know which way you were going to go.
Because that's why I asked. As much as Fish annoys me, I think Fish is good in the ring. I don't think BJ Whitmer's that great in the ring. So
yeah, I like the character of BJ Whitmer just because he plays a good asshole. But yeah, Fish I like Fish though, so I guess I can't really talk onto that. But yeah, I was curious. I guess I'd never had asked you that question of all of the time the past year that we've covered Ring of Honor and how you've said fuck BJ.
That is a hard question to answer.
Main event time, the Bullet Club, Kenny Omega, Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, they take on Tanahashi, Elgin, and Yoshitatsu. So, if I had to bet the farm on who would take the pin here, Yoshitatsu, and I was right. Very good match, though. A lot of fun.
You mean Japanese Triple H?
What?
You didn't realize that Yoshitatsu's doing a Japanese Triple H gimmick? He's calling himself the Bullet Club Hunter. He comes out with the water bottle and does the spit, and he's using the pedigree as his finisher.
He didn't do any of that in TV, though, did he? The entrances? I don't remember.
They might have edited it out, but he's definitely doing all that. He went to hit the pedigree and he got it reversed. So
that's it.
Yeah, he's totally his entire gimmick is ripping off Triple H right now.
That is,
and of course, he's got beef with the Bullet Club because they put him on the shelf.
Because he didn't know how to take a fucking Styles Clash.
But I digress. This week in pro wrestling, 2000, the WCW World Heavyweight title, which was still recovering from the David Arquette title reign a month earlier, followed by Vince Russo stripping Ric Flair of the belt for no reason. It took another blow in Salt Lake City, Utah, when Kevin Nash, who defeated Jeff Jarrett for the belt 6 days earlier, announced he was just going to give the belt to Ric Flair, saying that Flair had never been stripped of the belt to begin with. And Flair accepted the title, but then he lost it to Jeff Jarrett that night. And you wonder why WCW folded less than a year later, right? Why was this kind of... We all know that Kevin Nash was basically pulling the strings in WCW. Was this just an example of him pulling the strings because he could?
It all depends on who you ask, to be perfectly honest. You know?
Good point.
And that's the truth.
Who the hell knows?
That was such a clusterfuck. During this week in 2006, during an edition of Raw, Paul Heyman announces that he has been allowed to select 2 wrestlers, one from Raw, one from SmackDown, for the revived ECW brand. Heyman selects Rob Van Dam from Raw and Kurt Angle from SmackDown. Paul Heyman definitely knows how to pick them. Just too bad that ECW, that was just an eyesore of on the professional wrestling company there. This week in 2009, just days after his return to the company during a televised match on Raw, Ken Kennedy is released by the WWE, stemming from complaints about his work after he injured Randy Orton during return bout. And yeah, what a shame. He was pegged to be Vince's illegitimate child. Probably would have been shot straight to the top, and he fucked that up in a hurry. And now he's ripping TNA and overseas promotions. This week in 2009, Ring of Honor tapes ROH on HDNet in Philadelphia at the ECW Arena. This taping features Ric Flair announcing he's leaving the company after just a few appearances. While Flair claimed it was due to his relationship with the WWE, it was more likely due to Ring of Honor passing on his son Reed in the wake of a drug arrest. And then owner Kerry Silkin would later sue Ric Flair for the money. Not too long ago, post on Twitter, he was going to ask Flair for that money for appearances that were not refunded back to him. I had no idea Ric Flair even was involved in Ring of Honor.
Oh yeah, this is a big mess.
Yep.
Did you? Well, this was on HDNet, so did you guys see it at the time?
He didn't do many appearances, so
I literally think he only did like 2.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What did he do on them?
He was supposed to be like the commissioner.
Yeah.
Fucking
yeah, I mean this was when Flair was like completely fucked up, because he had that issue with high spots too. Like there was all sorts of Flair being shady as fuck during this period.
Well, when you got to pay a lot of ex-wives, I guess you gotta be shady, right? This week in 2012, in response to some fans talking about WWE champion CM Punk selling out in his relation to an appearance on the cover of the new WWE video game, Punk wrote on Twitter, "I enjoy people's opinions on my selling out for various reasons, as if I'm supposed to feel guilt for being successful. Hard work, no shortcuts. If you're good at something, never do it for free. I remember people in Chicago being pissed at the fact that I worked 2 shows in the same day, people who couldn't do what I do. When you want something, go after it, and when you work harder than anybody else, you get it." During that same time frame, Punk was asked about retirement, and he said it'd be sooner than you think. And guess what? Just about a year and a half later, he leaves the WWE in January 2014.
The funniest thing about that is the story. Not a whole lot of people actually know this. THQ had to fight with WWE to get CM Punk on the cover of that game.
What do you mean?
Like, WWE 13.
WWE
did not want CM Punk on the cover. They did not want CM Punk on the cover, and they kept on offering other people I can't remember everybody they offered, but I know Sheamus was one of them at that period that they offered to put Sheamus on the cover, and said THQ's like, no, we want to put CM Punk on the cover. And it was a big back and forth with WWE, and WWE did not want CM Punk on the cover of that game. It was one of the few times that the video game company actually won a back and forth, argument with the WWE and actually got their way. Because more often than not, it doesn't work out in their favor.
It still astounds me that still after all of this, not being high on Punk, and he still holds the modern day record for the title for 434 days. I'm still astounded they had him hold that for that long. But I mean, fuck, he's making the company money even though they don't want to push him. So I guess Vince had to cave at some point. Alex Shelley in 2012, he left TNA and soon debuted for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Smart move, I'd say. Happy birthday this week to Jake the Snake Roberts. He was born in Gainesville, Texas, this week in 1955. This week in 1986, a tournament was held to crown the first ever UWF champion in Houston, Texas. This tournament saw a lot of stars, likes of Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Buddy Roberts, Chavo Guerrero, Kamala, and then a couple of new guys, new and upcoming guys in Sting and Rock, who Rock would be known as the Ultimate Warrior, as they tagged in UWF. In the finals, though, it was Terry Gordy defeating Hacksaw Jim Duggan to become the first person to win the UWF title. This weekend, a couple more happy birthdays. In 1967, Vampiro was born, and in 1975, James Storm was born. Sorry about your damn luck. This week in 2010, Wade Barrett wins the first season of NXT. 6 years later, he's not there anymore.
What?
What did you, Trevor, Matt, did you guys get a chance to watch Seth Rollins 24/7?
Yeah, it was amazing.
I did. I watched it immediately following Raw. I thought it was fucking great. And the thing that annoys me about that special, and other people have touched on this on Twitter throughout the week, which I just completely agree with,
if you were outside of the WWE bubble and you weren't watching Raw and SmackDown consistently every week, and somebody sat you down, like a sports fan, and sat you down and you watched that Seth Rollins 24 special, that dude's the biggest baby face in the fucking planet.
Why is he being such a dick?
Yeah, yeah. So it's just like they absolutely, Vince made the absolute wrong call, forcing him to be a heel and forcing Reigns to be, the baby face in this feud, because that 24 special solidified the fact Rollins is a good dude. You want to be behind him. You want to cheer him on. You were rooting for him to overcome this horrific injury, to come back ahead of schedule, and you could just relate to the guy throughout this entire special. And for them to force him as a heel down your throat is just, honestly, I think it's insulting to our intelligence as wrestling fans.
You know exactly what it is Vince says, well, you want Reigns as a heel and Rollins as a face. You want it. Fuck you. You're not getting it.
Yes, fuck you. That's why.
Yeah, but fuck you. IWC. I got one on ya. Very beginning of the show, they show sneaking Rollins into a bus with Mark Carrano. In the days of social media and smartphones and stuff, the WWE's done pretty good at sneaking some guys in. I don't think Rollins was reported to on the show, was he?
PW Insider reported that he was there that afternoon.
Yeah. Oh, well, maybe they weren't that sneaky. Not as good as they were with the Dudleys.
Nobody
knew that.
Nobody gets past the Micah Johnson.
And Micah Johnson. And so they kick off the show with him sitting on the bus, getting ready. They talk about the injury, how it's a move that Rollins did so many times where he flips, he's on the turnbuckle, flips over Kane, lands on the instep of his foot, and completely tears up the knee. ACL, MCL, and meniscus. How about that camera, that magnified camera showing the bone just getting drilled through? That was pretty neat, wasn't it?
It was yeah.
Hope you weren't eating breakfast while you were watching that.
No, I was
not. This was funny to me. They ran days, and day one, they showed day one, and they interviewed Rollins after the surgery, and clearly Rollins was on some good drugs, because he goes, whoever has the title when he gets back, if it's Reigns or Cesaro or Wade Barrett, what?
Dude, that's how much faith he has in his friends. I honestly thought it was cool. I thought it was cool that he mentioned his friends like that.
Yes.
So I didn't have a problem with it. And who knows where Cesaro would be right now on the pecking order of the roster had he not blown out his shoulder in December.
Yeah.
He could be much higher than he is right now. With all the injuries that were out and the WrestleMania card needing all the help they could get, Cesaro could be in a much different place on the roster right now today had that injury never happened.
You previously said on the show there's no way that Cesaro's getting pushed. Do you change your stance on Vince pushing Cesaro?
Oh no, he'll always be lost in the mid card.
Okay.
He's our boy. And
I thought we were gonna.
I love Cesaro. You love Cesaro. You drafted Cesaro. But he until Vince McMahon steps aside, he'll always be lost in the mid card. Cesaro's best shot is to be drafted to SmackDown in July, and Vince to be more hands on with Raw than SmackDown. And
so we don't have to call on Trevor to make us a new logo. So not yet, Trevor.
Damn it.
Not yet. I'm gonna say Zack Ryder's probably our mascot in waiting if Cesaro ever wins. Now, okay, so if Cesaro ever becomes world champion, do we have to change our logo?
Yes.
Or are we gonna just always have? Okay.
If Cesaro ever becomes WWE World Heavyweight Champion, we have to change the logo because Cesaro is officially no longer lost in the mid card.
Can we change it to Cody Rhodes?
No.
We're not tied to the WWE.
Well, Cody Rhodes. By the time Cesaro becomes WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Cody Rhodes will no longer be lost in the mid card.
He'll be ROH World Champion, probably, right?
he'll be doing important things in ROH in Japan by the time Cesaro is WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
He'll have 8 points in the Super Juniors at this point next year. They fast forward to Extreme Rules where Seth Rollins they kind of go back and forth in time. It's pretty cool how they did that, and they go back to the night that he returned. He says that right after his surgery, he came up with the motto "Redesign, Rebuild, and Reclaim," which I believe has probably sold a lot of T-shirts. Matt, I'd agree. A lot of people love that shirt design. I'll probably get it once they get a good sale again.
Yeah.
Go to day. They said day 35. Rollins is still sore, and
can you blame him?
To see the look on his face, when he was doing those wall sits and something popped. Oh man, I would have shit my pants too, because like he said, I think he said it on the documentary. He goes, I think he said he thought that was another 4 months down the drain on that pop, but I couldn't imagine. Of course, we all know, we talked about his rehab and just how he worked his ass off. And yes, again, that comes around to the fact that why the fuck did you make him a heel when he returned? I don't know. Sami Zayn, though, said he said to Seth, you don't want to hear this, but it'll be the best thing for you. And a month into it, you'll be able to sit down and breathe. Day 49, they show Rollins at his home in Davenport, Iowa. Pretty cool. They show a shelf he's got in his home with the beat-up Money in the Bank briefcase sitting there. He's eating breakfast with his little puppy and playing some Madden. He's a Bears fan, so that makes me like him even more. So maybe I'll have to put a trade in to get Seth Rollins.
Yeah,
of course, that means I have to.
You're gonna have to give
up Kevin.
You're gonna have to give me a hell of a trade to get Seth Rollins off of SmackDown, pal.
They go into Seth's childhood when he was growing up in Buffalo, Iowa. Seth had to go to a chiropractor at age 8 because he wrestled around so much. And he says as he was sitting down with friends and family, they talked about their love for wrestling, and it all began at WrestleMania 14 when they all watched it together. They created their own backyard wrestling federation with everything, entrance music, titles, everything. And then they were hanging out in his father's basement where Seth and all of his friends hung out at about age 14 or 15. How about that little RVD portal? They came up with the idea to draw on the black concrete with chalk a portal that they could travel through to go hang out with RVD. How fucking cool would that be if there was a... And then, hey, the Ode to Al Snow, Help Me, written backwards on one of the bricks. That was kind of funny. Muscatine, Iowa in 2006. This was pretty damn cool. At the age of 19, he takes on AJ Styles. And obviously, 2006, AJ Styles was blown up by then, right?
Yeah. I mean, he was in the... I mean, around that time, he was doing the triple threat matches with Joe and Daniels and TNA at the period where TNA was like the greatest thing on the planet. Oh, that makes me sad to see how far they've fallen.
I just can't believe you said that sentence.
Well, dude, they were. Dude, yeah. 2005 to 2008, I would have done, anything for TNA as a company, as a support of a fan. And it really sucks to see what they've become.
And this was on tape. At the end of the match, AJ goes on the mic and says that Rollins gave him the match of his life, and he's the future of the business at age 18 or age 19. And guess what? AJ was right. He was right. They go to Ring of Honor, where guys such as Owens, Sami Zayn, Austin Aries, and Cesaro talk about his talent. Really cool there to see those guys give him so much praise. And then they kind of fast forward back to Extreme Rules, where Rollins says, the redesign part of his mantra means he can't be as reckless any longer. He has to be more careful. So that's part of the redesigned portion of Seth Rollins post injury. They go to day 91. Rollins gets a text that Daniel Bryan's retiring, and that kind of hits him, saying, "Well, this could happen at any second. What if I don't wrestle again?" Kind of hit him pretty hard. They show him doing full workouts at the Performance Center. Then they go into WrestleMania weekend, which was that's probably had to have been the longest weekend of his life, don't you think?
I'm sure he would. I would be miserable.
He looked miserable, completely miserable through that whole thing. And they got to day 184. He said if WrestleMania is not in the cards, he wanted to come back in the biggest way possible, and it looked like it was Extreme Rules. So he was right. Came back at Extreme Rules to a huge pop. I thought it was pretty cool towards the end of the show where they showed a recap of like him doing these moves in the Performance Center to test his knee out, but they were also at the same time showing, or right before it or right after it, showing the exact same move that he did prior to his injury. I thought that kind of editing was really cool. A hell of a show. I highly.
Oh yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, you're a fan of Seth Rollins at all, you have to go out of your way to watch it. It was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What was your favorite part of that show there, Trevor?
I think they did a really good job of just telling the whole story and bringing it back around, like the stuff they showed with AJ back in 2006, and then wrapping it around with AJ hugging him after Extreme Rules, like stuff like that. They just did a great job with that stuff.
Yeah, and they got an instant story to tell right there. I think that's a feud that'll, unless somehow the brand split happens, that's a feud that's going to happen in the WWE somewhere at some point in time.
What is
AJ Styles and Seth Rollins?
Well, honestly, that's what I wanted to base my entire SmackDown brand on, but they're all heels now, so.
You could turn Rollins face.
I would if I was creative control, and if the club's going to be heel, I'd have Rollins as the baby face of SmackDown.
In a statement that I will not be saying much after July, I didn't get to watch SmackDown this week. I don't know if it was good or not.
You have no excuse anymore starting in July, pal.
Nope. Money in the Bank qualifying match, Del Rio, they teased us with Zack Ryder possibly getting in it, but no, Del Rio gets the win there. Rusev took on Kalisto, and Rusev crushed him again. Natalya beats Dana Brooke by disqualification. That apparently lasted like not even a minute. Golden Truth took on Breezango, and Breezango got the win there. Then The Miz took on Cesaro. I bet that was probably a good match. That was the main event of SmackDown. It was for the Intercontinental title. Did you get a chance to watch it, Matt?
I thought it was fine. It wasn't like anything to write home about. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, I think a lot of the SmackDowns between now and July 19th aren't going to be anything special. I think all focus in the WWE. My main fear right now, not just SmackDown, I have a very big fear that between now and the draft, that WWE is going to be phoning in a lot of these Raws and SmackDowns between now and then, just because they know they're going to blow everything up in a month and a half anyway. So I'm really curious to see what we get in the month of June, because I really don't think it's going to be as good as we deserve.
Yeah, that was what I was alluding to earlier in the show. I go, this could be a long month and a half till we get there. Memorial Day, Raw, live from Green Bay, Wisconsin. No, we do not get the return of Mr. Kennedy, unfortunately.
Unfortunately for who?
I don't know. We start off the show with, McMahon's. How about that? We start off the show with McMahon's.
I've never done that before.
Basically a promo. Here's my take on it, Matt and Trevor. Ask me if I'm spot on with this.
Are you spot on with this?
Creative has a stupid promo. They know this is shit, because they're basically going to talk about the big announcement, which was the brand extension. That announcement occurred before SmackDown taping, so obviously this is their first show to talk about it. So they bring it up, and then they give us no news on it. So then they try to spruce it up with the New Day. So they try to make chicken salad out of chicken shit. Does that sound about how that opening segment was?
Pretty much.
It was terrible. Yeah. It told us nothing. It gave us no new news.
The stupid vaudevillains prevented us from seeing Stephanie dance.
No, she was looking kind of hot in them short shorts too. Holla!
Jobbers.
But, yeah, I think they thought, well, New Day's funny. Let's add this into a shitty segment where we're not going to give anything away. And here you go. That led to a very short New Day and Vaudevillains match, which Big E and Kofi came. Oh, not very short. I'm sorry. It went about 10 minutes. But one of the highlights of the match was it was a disqualification because Gallows and Anderson beat up the New Day. So how about that? Fun stuff there. Like Matt said, I think you said there's 2 high points in the match in the night for Raw.
Yeah, I thought there were 2 high points in the show, and they both involved the club. So honestly, I thought the rest of the show was really like WWE saw the competition they were up against that night, and they were just like, you know what, fuck it. We don't need to do anything important. People are going to be talking about Goldberg. People are going to be talking about Cena's return. People are going to be talking about the club. And other than that, fuck it. And honestly, that's really what Raw felt like to me on Monday. Monday Night Raw, the fuck it edition.
I agree.
Basically. Renee Young interviewed Gallows and Anderson. They said, well, they just proved they can do a lot of damage on their own without AJ Styles. And Anderson says they're just getting started. They replayed the attack of Sheamus on Apollo Crews, and they had a little backstage segment with Crews and Big Show.
Pointless.
I liked it. I liked the talk between Big Show.
Dude, Crews was awful.
Dude,
Crews, honestly, if he's this bad at promos, he should still be down in NXT. Because
I don't think they should have brought him up.
Dude, he's bad. And I love him in the ring, but he's awful on the microphone. He's not believable at all. And he was not ready to be brought up. I think they made a big mistake, and I think it's going to hurt this kid long term that they did not leave him in NXT longer.
Well, I said that in the beginning because they really never had a feud for him ever in NXT, right?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I think this was a big mistake, and I think that segment, which obviously could be a pre-tape, they could have taped that over and over again. If that was the best tape they got from Crews, my God, that's not good.
I didn't hate it as much, but useless tag team segment. Usos took on Tyler Breeze and Fandango. I'm not going to say that stupid name they came up with. This lasted 2 minutes, not long at all, and so they were hyping up the undefeated streak of Breeze and Fandango, and they lose to the Usos in 2 minutes. That was great. And then they brawl with the Golden Truth. So that was just a clusterfuck of a segment. Too bad Gallows and Anderson couldn't come and just beat everybody up there too.
Yeah, I would have loved to see them just interfere in every segment until the AJ Cena thing.
Reigns came out to the usual booze and grabbed a microphone.
This might have been the worst segment I've
Holy
ever
shit,
seen.
this was so fucking bad.
How terrible was this segment, Trevor? I mean, Seth Rollins acts
God. It went on way too long, way too fucking long. Holy shit, who the fuck came up with that segment?
Apparently
Preach
they
on,
were
Trevor.
watching.
Preach on.
Apparently they were watching Family Guy and decided to do the old stretch the segment out too long thing that Seth MacFarlane likes to do. The problem is on Family Guy it's funny.
I get what they were trying to do. They're trying to pull the whole these guys don't touch each other till the pay-per-view, and I get that, but holy shit, do it some other way, because this was fucking dumb.
Well, yeah, and also they're trying to play it off as Rollins as being smart, And
I guarantee you they do touch before the pay-per-view. I will go as far as to guarantee that Rollins and Reigns will touch before Money in the Bank.
Kind of fucking have to now after that goddamn segment.
That was universally, I think nobody liked that segment except Vince.
Dude, Vince liked that. It's honest to God, if Vince sat there and thought that segment was good, that says everything that's wrong with Vince and the creative product of this company right now.
Yep. That's when after that they showed the Goldberg trailer. And then we get Rusev destroying Zack Ryder. Zach got a little bit of offense in there, but again...
Yeah, a couple hope spots.
A little bit of offense, but went for the Rough Rider and missed. And then that... I like the new twist that Rusev puts on the Accolade. I like it. It's unique.
Yeah, it's better than just your typical camel clutch.
Yeah, puts his own spin on it. After the match, Rusev is railing on America, and he calls himself the true American hero, and then he insulted Cheese. But we all insult Green Bay, so it's okay. Titus O'Neil comes out, so Titus O'Neil is standing up for the old US of A, and so it looks like this will be the next United States Championship feud.
That didn't feel forced at all.
I want to know why the babyface cheap shotted Rusev.
That whole segment felt forced, and I don't mind Titus O'Neil being in that position, because I think
he's a good guy,
and I think he's not bad in the ring or anything. Just the way it came off was just so fucking forced that, man, it just was not entertaining at all.
Would you have rather had that or John Cena come out like we all thought?
I'd rather have Cena win the U.S. title.
Yeah, me too.
Than the club thing?
You didn't have to do the club thing.
Yeah, that was probably the best segment on the show.
It was. Yeah.
We get the Shining Stars talking about Puerto Rico again.
If you didn't know it,
what was your line?
As I said, if you didn't know any better, you'd think they hadn't debuted yet.
So they had one match, then they keep having fucking vignettes. Like it's like let's just keep doing vignettes till SmackDown's live, and then
Vince is like, damn it, we almost have Carlito back. Just keep doing the vignettes.
That one, that match they had was crickets.
Yeah,
nobody gives a shit about these guys.
Over well. It was a good match though.
Yeah, well,
I liked their finisher.
Aggression. I wish they had that aggression before when they were boring baby faces. You know, let's not even talk about Puerto Rican bullfighters, which do not exist.
They need Carlito. I mean, it's as simple as that. They need Carlito. They need to bring Carlito back and let him be the manager.
That'd be such a huge spark.
I don't think after his Hall of Fame speech.
That Hall of Fame speech was amazing. And,
what happened? I forgot.
Oh my god, dude! You need to go back and watch that if it hasn't been edited to hell.
Oh, it probably has been, even though it's been presented in its entirety, as they say. What did he say, or what did he do? I don't even remember anything of it.
I can't even.
I don't remember the exacts, but I know it wasn't favorable towards WWE. So.
Well, he also had kind of a poor work ethic, didn't he?
Well, that's what they claim.
Oh, well. They do a long and overdrawn recap of the whole Flair thing. Trevor, what were your thoughts on the whole Charlotte kicking Flair to the curb last week?
I mean, I thought it needed to happen. I think the biggest problem with Charlotte is she has a hard time controlling her emotions.
Oh, yeah. She was about ready to cry.
Yeah, you could tell during the segment she, wanted to cry. And it's like, nah, you can't really do that. It would have been much better had it not looked that way.
Matt didn't like the segment. I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was good except for her emotional reaction.
She tripped up when the crowd was giving her heat too, a little bit, but she brought it back, and I think she delivered pretty good after that. Obviously, Dana Brooke, that's just hey, we like you, and sorry about Emma, so let's throw you here with Charlotte, So, Enzo and Cass take on the Dudley Boys. So this is the first official match for Enzo Amore since his return from the injury. And once again, they continue to make Cass look like a superstar. And if they break these guys up in the draft, you're going to hear a lot of F-bombs from Matt and myself, and maybe even Trevor if he's on the show here.
I don't think they're going to break them up yet.
Ooh, I'm worried. I'm worried that they've got a rocket launcher strapped to Cass's ass right now. I am worried they're going to break him up.
I don't think he's ready yet.
I don't either, but I'm thinking
they might put the tag belts on them at SummerSlam. I think that might be where they're going, in all honesty.
I can see Vince wanting to put gold on them. Yeah, tag team run would not hurt. I could even see Cass having a singles run with Enzo as his manager before I see them splitting them.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. I'm worried.
I think your worries are unfounded at this point.
I hope so. I hope I'm wrong. I'm just worried. Pretty funny segment with Sami Zayn, Dean Ambrose, and Cesaro as Ambrose and Cesaro are making fun of Canadians.
Yeah, I like that segment, actually.
Yeah. Finally, Zayn goes, I'm Canadian, right? And Ambrose just stands there dumbfounded and goes, well, that explains so much. I loved it. Loved it. John Cena makes his return. A new hat, new shirt, new towel. Again, I would love it if somebody would prank Cena sometime and sneak in the Gable towel. That would be kind of funny. Of course, the redesigned new T-shirt from John Cena. Great speech though for John Cena about Memorial Day. I really loved that. I thought, obviously, we know Cena's a big supporter of the military, so I thought that was a very classy speech by John Cena there. That was great. And AJ Styles comes out, and the crowd goes nuts for a good, I don't know, would you say 5 minutes?
It was a great, long-lasting reaction that very few crowds can do anymore. I was extremely impressed by Green Bay in the length that they were able to carry that chant on. I thought it was a magical moment.
Cena said the future must go through me. AJ Styles' music hits. I mean, this is it. This is the golden boy of WWE against the golden boy of TNA. You know, this was something we thought we would never, ever see in the ring. Hence, Green Bay given the huge reaction, which was pretty funny. Pretty good. What was pretty funny about it was, you know when this segment took place?
During halftime of the NBA Game 7.
Uh-huh.
WWE ain't stupid.
Nope, they ain't stupid.
Plus, if you notice, they're starting to put major stuff in that time slot because they lose a lot of people in the last hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, whatever happens going into the 10 o'clock hour, to me, in WWE's mind, is their main storyline of the show.
Mm-hmm. AJ Styles says that he respects Cena. He wanted to be the first one to say welcome back, and they shake hands. Then out comes Anderson and Gallows, and they said, while they agreed to go their separate ways, he didn't realize that Styles would be sucking up to John Cena and kiss ass. And Anderson says they're not there to kiss the ass, they're there to kick it, and that includes you too, AJ. And they approach the ring. Styles and Cena take off their shirt, take off the wristbands, get ready for a fight. And boom, AJ Styles clocks John Cena, and the club goes to town on Cena. I loved it. Heel AJ is great. Him going back into the ring for seconds, him going back into the ring for thirds. I thought it was awesome. Trevor, did you love that segment? And did you see it coming, honestly?
Honestly, I didn't see it coming.
Me either.
And I thought it was the best thing on the show. And I thought it was a really good segment.
It was. I loved it. I loved it that at the end, like, Anderson and Gallows had to pull AJ off of Cena, where they have been the ones kicking ass and delivering punishments. They actually had to pull AJ off of Cena at the end of it. Matt, we know you loved it, but what were your thoughts?
I thought it was great. This is the best thing that could happen to AJ right now.
And you didn't see it coming either, right?
No, I didn't. But I was happy about it.
Yeah.
The thing is, AJ was about to get lost on the face side of the card. Obviously WWE's gotten Roman at number 1. Cena's back, he's number 2. Orton's about to come back, he's number 3. You could argue Bray Wyatt and
Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, Ambrose and Dean and stuff like that in Vince's mind are higher than AJ Styles. So Styles is about to go from like the number 2 babyface with Reigns to maybe 5 or 6. And at that point, that's not good for him. So to turn heel and be easily in the top 2 or 3 heels in the company is great. And hopefully they protect him. And hopefully he beats John Cena. And this is not another, John Cena beats all 3 members of the club for the next 3 months and makes me want to go in a corner and cry.
So this will probably be a 3-month feud, Money in the Bank, Battleground, and end at SummerSlam. Trevor, do you actually think AJ Styles wins this feud?
I could see it. I hope so.
I said I could see it with Bray Wyatt, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, we can always see it happening, but I don't know. Owens beat him, so I definitely have some hope.
I think Vince is high on AJ Styles. He was in the main event twice in a row.
Yeah.
Merch makes Vince happy, which is why I don't know why Velvet Sky hasn't been hired yet. She even had an interview in Sports Illustrated saying, I'd be glad to sign me, hello. But so Vince merch makes Vince happy. So I think AJ's gotten. I think Vince has gotten over that TNA stigma pretty quick with AJ Styles.
I'd agree.
Dana Brooke took on Natalya in a very old school Divas match, 2 minutes long. Dana Brooke looks okay, still needs a little work though. I think she needs to smooth out that fireman carry slam a little better. But I think Dana Brooke was forced into more than she was supposed to because of the Emma injury. Does that make sense, Matt?
Yeah, I would certainly think so.
Dolph Ziggler interviewed by JoJo. He brings up the 1004 holds of Jericho, which was pretty funny. One of my favorite segments of all time is Jericho doing those. He says he's going to steal the show. It's time for a quote-unquote technical wrestling match with Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin. Ziggler even puts on a mouthpiece and some headgear, and the bell rings and he kicks Corbin right in the ding-ding. I actually popped at this. I thought it was great. Obviously, Ziggler's been treated like shit, booking-wise for a long time now. I think this kind of gives him a little more edge that he did not have as a babyface. It does continue a feud that maybe is going on a little too long, Matt, but I actually kind of liked the kick in the ding-ding here. What did you think?
It was whatever.
Trevor?
I mean, I like what they did, but I still just don't care about Dolph Ziggler anymore.
And Vince has did a good job of conditioning you to not.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm. Maurice does her introduction, does a pre-taped introduction for The Miz, and Miz is shown live on Facebook or something like that, speaks on a video. He's on the set of Marine 5, and he still has the Intercontinental title, and says that we're going to hear from him every week. Why didn't they just put the title on Cesaro on SmackDown, Matt?
I don't know. I absolutely hate the fact that the Intercontinental title is going to be off TV for 5 weeks.
It was on such a roll, and now it's going to be on a screeching halt.
Yeah, I don't like it at all.
Marine 5 is going to film. It looks like it ends around the ending of the filming is right around the brand split draft and all that. Maurice, Naomi, Heath Slater, Bo Dallas, and Curtis Axel also going to be in the movie. As we're setting up for the quote-unquote main event, because obviously we know the main event's now at the end of hour 2, the heel team, Owens, Jericho, and Del Rio, are in the locker room arguing about who's better now, and this segment was just great because of Jericho and Owens going back and forth. So that leads to our main event, and they show the graphic for the Money in the Bank ladder match, and there's no silhouette for a 7th guy. So, Trevor, what's your gut feeling? Did they just pull the 7th guy out of the blue?
That's probably what they did. They probably just weren't sure who else to put in there, in all honesty.
Or are they going to do a surprise?
They could also do a surprise. Maybe that surprise is Finn Balor.
Maybe. I don't put Balor in that match unless he's winning it.
Yeah.
And that's the only problem I have with that. Honestly, at this point, Bray or Orton would seem like a logical choice. I'd love to put. I would love this. I would love to see Finn in there, but I can't see them putting. If you put Finn in there, he's got to win. You can't debut him in Money in the Bank and then him not win the match.
I don't think they're actually going to bring him up until the draft.
Yeah, I don't know when they're going to bring him up now because I already thought that would have happened already with the club. But if Bray Wyatt's in it, Bray Wyatt's going to be my pick to win. Otherwise, I think I might go Ambrose now, where I was kind of more on the Owens side of things. Owens would be great with the briefcase, but I don't think he needs it. I think the unpredictability of Ambrose makes for a good story, and the unpredictability of Bray Wyatt makes for another good story too.
I think it'd be so awesome if just Ambrose cashed in that briefcase that night.
Rollins and make it a triple threat, even kind of like how Rollins did it at WrestleMania. Both guys are beaten.
And then
he beats Rollins for it.
I would wait for SummerSlam to pull the Shield triple threat out, but I would definitely, if they're all on the same brand, I would definitely do a Shield triple threat match for SummerSlam for the title.
I mean, what you do is you have Ambrose cash in that same night, end up beating Rollins, and then you set up for the triple threat at SummerSlam, and then Ambrose has the belt for 2 months.
I'd be okay with that. Yeah,
me too. Obviously, Ambrose is my favorite wrestler. So, what would you guys do if we don't put Bray Wyatt in the Money in the Bank? What would you do for a first feud to kickstart his career again?
Well, he was going to come in a feud with the League of Nations, but they're gone. So,
I guess he could feud with Sheamus if he's done with all the Turtle promotion.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, isn't Sheamus stuck with Cruz?
Oh, you're right. I forgot. That's right. You're right.
I really don't know what the hell they're going to do with Wyatt.
And Rusev stuck with Titus O'Neil, and Del Rio's in the match. So yeah,
unless Wyatt helps John Cena.
Oh my God! You shut your filthy mouth.
And fights the club.
You shut your filthy mouth. I don't want to see Bray Wyatt and John Cena.
An unholy alliance.
I hate it.
But wouldn't you like to see the club and the Wyatts go at it?
Yeah, I want to see the club and the Wyatts go at it, but I don't want John Cena involved.
Well, it'd probably be Harper and Rowan against Gallows and
Harper's still out, dude.
Oh shit, that's right. Strowman. Hope Strowman's gotten better.
Well, the only way I look at that and say that's a good thing is if it's the Wyatts family, the three of them, and Cena against AJ, Gallows, Anderson, and Balor.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind it. 6-man tag match with the current guys in the Money in the Bank. And this was actually even though Raw was kind of piss poor and it was a throwaway, this was a great 6-man tag match. But of course, you got Sami Zayn, Dean Ambrose, Cesaro, Kevin Owens, Del Rio, Jericho. They're not going to put a dud out there for you. So it was a good match. Went about 20 minutes to end the show. The good guys, Sami Zayn, Ambrose, and Cesaro get the win as Ambrose hits Dirty Deeds on Kevin Owens for the pinfall. So that was a good way to close the show, I thought. So, but it was, as we all agree, it was basically a throwaway. So that's going to do it for this edition of Lost in the Midcard. We will come at you next week with our review, fresh off of NXT Takeover The End. This should be a fun night and a fun show to cover as well. I'd like to thank SpiderDuck.net for being our host and enabling us to be on iTunes. Any of your favorite podcasting apps, all you got to do is search for Lost in the Midcard. Subscribe to us, and you'll know when every show hits you. A new show every Thursday, plus every Monday after a WWE pay-per-view. We can also be subscribable on YouTube, and the links to both of those are on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Lost in the Midcard, and on our Twitter page at LITMC Podcast. Before we wrap up the show tonight, Trevor, what are your final thoughts?
Come see Black Diamond Wrestling's 13th anniversary show this Sunday in Benwood, West Virginia, if you have the means. If not, just go check out the YouTube through our Facebook page, just facebook.com/Black Diamond Wrestling.
Is that cage going to hold out the Black Hand Society?
I hope so.
That doesn't sound too convincing.
It definitely will. They're not getting involved. Not if I have anything to say about it.
Or is Trevor Oz going to keep him out with his iron fist?
I do have a bionic elbow.
Ooh.
I do have 2 metal plates and 18 screws in my elbow, so.
If you will. Matt, what are your final thoughts?
I'm excited for NXT Takeover next week, and I really hope WWE just doesn't coast over the next month and a half until we get to the draft.
Hallelujah. I have a sick feeling that they're going to be coasting, but I think at least we'll have an entertaining
next week will be a true test.
Yeah, exactly. For Trevor Osz and Matt Black, this is Jeremy Bennett. Thank you for tuning in to Lost in the Midcard. We will catch you with our fresh take of NXT TakeOver next week.